if you think my talent came from me doing acid, then go do acid and make it. I promise you, I promise you, that's not how it works. You know what I'm saying?
Jesus don't work like that.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 31 of The Jam. It's JJ, AB, Allen, Matt, the way it always is. But one second, this always happens. We have a special guest.
What's going on, man?
Who do we have?
Man, we are sitting here with a Chicago legend. We are sitting here with a multiple-time Grammy winner. We're seeing, when you talk about the things that he's been won or like nominated for, we have Grammy Award for Best New Rap Artist, rap performance, rap album in 2017 with the Coloring Book. We have nominations for BET Awards, NAACP Image Awards, Soul Train Awards. Who are we talking about?
At this point, we sitting with Jesus. You feel? At this point,
or I guess our rapper equivalent, Chance the Rapper.
Hey. What an honor to be here with you, brothers.
Yes, sir. Really appreciate you.
Thank you, man. It's an honor and a privilege to be sitting here. I know, speaking from the Chicago family, growing up here, you're somebody who's kind of been like in all of our households.
So, yeah,
for sure, bro.
Man,
It's like it don't even feel real.
It don't even feel real for real.
It's crazy.
I'm like questioning, like, where is the budget going? Like, how is it? Like, where is the money going? How is this happening?
You know what it is, bro? I remember back in like 2013, 14, 15, 16, like I'll be at the bus stop with the wired headphones and shit, listening to Chance.
Yeah,
like
skull
go crazy.
candy.
Hell yeah. Yes. The skull candy. Yeah.
Oh my God, what y'all know about these skull candy?
You ain't know about that, bro.
But it's a very special occasion to have you sitting here with us. Obviously, the new album, Starline, came out.
Yes, sir.
Let's give a round of applause.
Phenomenal.
Thank you, man.
Phenomenal.
Man.
And I want to, before we dive into everything that is Chance, that is all types of the topics that we're going to get into today, first of all, you have to watch, you have to follow, you have to subscribe, you have to share.
Bro,
What are we doing?
Alan,
I'm
tell them
telling you,
every week.
I don't think they really get it, Chance. Like, I keep telling them to share the video, but they don't do it. I'm gonna need y'all to share this video. It's not free.
subscribe.
Like,
And subscribe.
Subscribe,
Tell them
hit
to
the bell,
subscribe.
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All
We got
that
something
shit.
called the
Like.
hype button too.
Like.
Hit the
And
hype
leave 3
button.
comments.
Yeah, 3 comments.
Why leave even
4.
one comment? Like,
Do y'all not see us crowded on this couch? I'm hot as fuck. Y'all think this is free? Come on.
We talked about, I say you mentioned the hype button earlier.
Yeah.
There might be some problems with it, but there's a new feature called the hype button. If it pops up for you, click it, share the video, all that good
Pushes
stuff.
our video through the algorithm.
And
Yes, sir. That's
finally,
appreciated.
follow us all on all our individual platforms.
Yeah.
Chance the Rapper.
at Chance the Rapper.
Everywhere,
You know
of
what I'm saying?
course.
Of course.
You can find me at JWilliamJ8, every platform.
What you on, Matt?
Yes, sir.
AB the artist. You feel?
SohoStudios.com.
Man,
Yes, sir,
and the reason why I think it's important to get all the information out the way is because it allows us to get into fun stuff. So there's something that we do with every guest first. There's a couple
Gotta
things.
do it.
We gotta start with a fit check this week.
Okay.
We have to start with the fit check, and we
Yes.
have to allow the guest to go first. So
Yes,
flip
sir.
away from the
All right,
shoes.
yeah,
From
yeah.
the bottom
How
up.
you feeling?
These my favorite pants, but right now I can't remember who made these. I want to say,
That looks so
damn, I instantly wanted to shout out the pants, but I also don't want to look at the tag on my pants. But
I did that shit.
Yeah, we can
last
find it.
episode.
yeah, it's not a cool look to look at the tag of your pants when you're already outside. It's crazy. Crocs, you would have never guessed.
I did not
Crocs.
think
Bro,
Crocs.
I was
They a
like,
little ran down, but that's how you're supposed to run in Crocs. But
Yeah.
yeah, I thought these was some Balenci's.
I thought they was Balenciaga.
I
thought it was
ain't never
something
seen
else.
them go so hard, but once I seen these, I was like, yeah, I want those Crocs.
Them shit's cool.
I didn't
Who
know
is
Crocs
this?
had shoes.
This this is Alpha Industries. Shout out to Alpha. They be doing all them like them crazy bombers and stuff, the
I have
NASA
heard
jackets and
Alpha
stuff. Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
we working on a collab with them.
oh,
And then,
that's
fire.
dope, bro.
yeah.
You know what I'm
And then
saying?
you know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying, yes, sir?
Yeah, this
Don
is
Little.
these are IF diamonds. This is called You Can't Touch This. And this is called,
I got a chain on call. You can't touch.
Roy G. Biv.
on camera. Yeah, no, this looks like Roy G. Biv. This is called Fuck Ice.
Oh,
W.
hard.
That shit tough.
Hey, so
And then this they little brother. You know
Yes,
what I'm saying?
sir.
Little bro.
Oh, little brother right
Little
there.
bro on
And
the
shout out to
Worldview.
Denim Craddock on the
Yes,
bucket.
sir. Last
Yes,
night
sir.
with the bucket
Bucket
hat.
hat, you know what I mean?
Definitely a pioneer of the style and everything.
Nah,
so,
for sure.
So I wanted to get in before we get in, because you know Alan's bag is fashion and everything. We also got to see what your life looking like, what that's hidden on, because you know we every guest who comes on the jam comes to us at a different point in their life, right?
Hold on. You just gonna skip us for the fit check too? Damn, nigga, we just
Damn. I
skip,
forgot what
like-
I had on. This is a special occasion.
I mean, I thought I had that.
Let's run the reverse order. Go
Sure, you
on.
reverse it.
Okay, you already know. I got the Timbs on. Had these since the first episode of the
You know what I mean?
You know how I'm feeling. I got the little brown wax jeans, second episode of the pod.
Yeah, nah,
We got the Soho long sleeve. This finna come out real soon.
Limited
Yeah,
edition.
limited
Stay
edition.
tuned.
You already peep royalty.
Rings on, you
Got
feel me?
everything.
Nails, everything.
your
Yes,
boy
sir.
got the black tongue fire red OG, you know.
That
on the feet, you feel me? Got the
bring back
True
memories.
Religion on the pants.
True religion.
True religion on the
Hand.
Can't
pants.
go wrong.
House of Airs on the tee.
Yes,
you know what I'm
sir.
saying? Little chain, you know what I'm saying?
See ya.
Coach bag,
Satchel.
satchel.
You know, I got the P6000s on chrome, you feel me? Why is everything chrome? Hit them again, you feel me? I got the, what are these? These panel denim. You know what I'm saying? Panel denim.
Yes,
Panel
denim.
Got the train of thought tee. You know, this Starline green, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
What's on the ring?
What's, man, you 100,000 on the ring.
Where the budget?
Nigga ain't got budget for that, nigga. Nah, you know, little something on the neck, you feel me?
Yeah.
Chilling, you know.
W, and last but certainly not least, we get
Oh, bro.
into the content. I got the Louis down.
Got that Louis stepping. Hold
You
on.
had to with the Louis. Then you got the jeans, and I don't remember where he's from. Probably like Boo Man.
Yeah.
Then you got the half people on the
Half
belt.
people
now,
on the
man.
belt.
On the
And you got the Golf Lang jacket.
Golf Wang.
Is it Golf Lang or Golf Wang?
Golf Wang.
Golf Wang
Yeah,
on the
Wang.
jacket. Know what I'm saying? Shout out
Shout out
Tyler. Know what
Tyler.
I'm saying? Then you got the little bracelet.
Ooh.
Hard.
150,000.
Had to be a little bit formal today. So
Yeah.
now we can check what your life hidden on.
Yeah.
God.
Because before it was the Crocs, before it was the fits like we all see, you know, you got to start from something.
Yeah.
Gotta
Yeah.
start from somewhere, man.
So your boy has a company called the FBA, Federal Bureau of AB. You know what I'm saying?
Swag.
Newest
So-
government agency.
Top
Yeah.
secret.
More legitimate than
Top
those.
secret. So one thing that I've noticed about your life that never changes is the hat.
Yeah.
You always got the hat on. So
Yeah.
let's
Always on
see
the hat.
the earlier versions of the hat. You know what I'm saying?
Bang out.
Nigga, bang out.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
No, this is crazy.
I'm so emotional.
I need to know.
This is one of my favorite pictures of all time. I could never find it because I posted that a long time ago.
Yeah, your boy
That's,
did
that's
some
me
digging.
and
I
my
had to find
grandmother,
it.
rest in peace. That's Taylor. and
Shout out
the
Grammy.
seat. But that's a little kufi that my auntie Kim had got me made. With like the
And
joint.
that's from Ghana, right?
That's some like Ghana Kente and like but I wasn't going to Ghana at that point. I didn't even know my family frequented Ghana. So I think my auntie did like through some connections get that joint made for me. But it's just so crazy. Every time I see that picture, I'm like, I was born to be a hotel. I'm just joking. That's for levity.
Y'all know what hotel time?
Yeah, I'm just joking. I'm not a hotel, and I don't believe in that word. But I was just saying, like, it's so crazy to see me in the '90s in some African garb. Like,
I was gonna
That's
say,
hard.
how
Have you
old were
been
you in
to-
this picture?
it's probably like I'm probably like I guess maybe 3.5, maybe 4 years old.
So like, starting in the culture early. That's
Yeah.
actually
Hell
really
yeah.
cool.
Have you
Damn.
been to Ghana?
Where did you get that? Is that from Facebook or from Instagram?
That's from Instagram. I think I actually got
Okay,
it.
send me this link.
I gotta
Because
send
I
it
feel
to
like
you.
it's hella far down.
Where did you get it?
So
You said it was it on his dad's page?
I believe it might have been on your
Oh,
dad's
that's
page,
my
yeah.
dad posted this picture. That's why I'm
Yeah.
like, man, I posted this years ago. I didn't even know how to find it.
Yeah.
That's why.
Man, that
So
is-
have you been to Ghana recently?
I haven't been in almost 2 years now. So we went, the first time I went was in December of 2022. Then I went 5 times in 2023. And the fifth time was when we did the festival. So a lot, like we was going there because we obviously had friends, but we was also working on the festival. So then the festival was the 5th trip in that year. And then I went twice in 24. And then and that last time was, oh wait, no. Am I tripping? When did we go there for a vacation? Was that 24? So then it's coming up on a year since I've been there.
Oh, wow.
How was that
That's fire.
experience like the first time you went?
It's so hard to put into words. Like I went dolo basically, so just me and my homie Peter. And we went there to go link Vic, but as I always tell the story, Vic had hella stuff to do, so he dipped from Ghana to, not to Benin. I can't remember the name of but he went to go do some stuff with his family. So I ended up having to like really like dive into this friend group that he introduced to me the night before. But we yeah, but thank God they was great people. They was like some of like the top artists and you know what I'm saying, architects, painters, all this stuff that he was in community with, and Aja Monet was in community with out there. And so I got to kick it and then like learn a lot of histories. I got to do the fun shit, like, because they have probably the greatest nightlife I ever experienced in the country, period. Yes.
Oh my God.
Like their clubs, like they have such a different variety of kind of spaces and stuff that is like obviously like kind of based on like American and European clubs. And like, but then they also have stuff that's just culturally them. Like there's a club that's like got a boxing ring in the middle of it.
What the fuck? You get too drunk.
You might as well have it out there. I'd rather that than
They have so much different stuff though.
so
Like so many different vibes. And that first time that I went there, like I remember one story that I never get to tell that's so fucking funny to me now is, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm super like sheltered American Black experience. Like I didn't know really a lot about other cultures, and I really always had a worldview that was American centric for a long time without even never necessarily knowing that.
Yeah, it's just brought up on you.
that same.
You know what I'm saying? You just think about America as like that's the centerpiece, and like, but it's like the world is so much bigger and so much older than America as we understand.
Especially growing up in a big city like Chicago, you kind of like
you even think that the metropolitan experience, there's so many more Black people in the South than in like other, or people just period spread out around other parts of the country.
I think what's so like, sorry to cut you off, what's so interesting hearing like your experience, because I've heard like a lot of people when they travel, they do say like, because they only know their world. So when they actually go out and see so much, it's like their like world actually just opens up. Like, what you mean a boxing ring is like, what you mean?
No, it's like just, it's so many different experiences and so many different, I think like, there's many different cultures within Ghana. So like when you're depending on what you're trying to experience, you could go get any version of that. But it's also all like still based in Pan-Africanism. So there's like a big emphasis on community and like helping people and, you know, being righteous or being like, you know what I'm saying, not being unfair to people. And I think that there's still the tourism side of it. Like there's certain things that they're going to have you, like people are going to sell you as an experience to be like, you know, to get more entrenched in the history of Africa through the slave trade lens. But then like if you go, I always implore people that are going to Ghana, go to the Kwame Nkrumah mausoleum. And so that's their first president where he's buried. And the history of us as a people globally, like in a more recent history, like 1800s and post that, is like so much revolutionary action and so much like political power that was like moving and also influencing other parts of the world. So our civil rights movement is super tied into Ghana's independence. And like, I wouldn't have known that if I didn't go to the mausoleum. But like I said, like whether you go do that or you go to Elmina Castle and go check out the, you know, the I forget what they're called, but basically the prisons where they were holding Black folks. Either way, you're still going to experience love, community. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's people that go and get their citizenship. It's super easy to get citizenship there. There's people that go there for all these different reasons, but no matter what, I think people leave with like a greater sense of pride, like a feeling of like wanting to build community, wanting to bring people back to Ghana. And it was just like, when we went there, I got to experience all of these things, except for going to the slave castles. But like everything else, I was like, nah, I'm good. But everything else,
I was gonna say like that. I remember my first experience kind of that gave me that similar feeling of like that community, especially among Black people. I remember when I went to DC, went to African American History Museum, and that like I'm a staunch advocate that like doing stuff like that, whether it's traveling and going and seeing those artifacts or like starting here and going looking at this shit, it will change your entire perspective.
Yeah, bro.
There are so many people, it was like a different feeling when you're actually looking at like the artifacts and the stuff that were like used during the time. And also like you said, the revolution, the struggles, the leaders that are mentioned and are kind of like are on display in those exhibits. I'm like, there is so much history that hasn't been accounted for, obviously, as a product of like all the shit that black people in America, North America have been through and how we even got here. But that, like, I still have yet to visit like Africa, and I'd love to like see that much more recent like accounting of like where a lot of this shit has started from.
I feel like, because you always kind of like open up my like worldview when it comes to just our history in general. Like you experiencing that, do you think like when you went to Ghana and you came back all those times, do you think you kind of carried those like experiences to like maybe your children and people around you?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I think that was the goal for the festival was like, okay, we learned, you know what I'm saying, that like the most important things that Kwame Nkrumah or Nnamdi Azikiwe or Lumumba or any of these like world leaders from like the 50s throughout that like liberated different countries in Africa, like the way that they did that was building community and like international strategies. And I was like, what'd be dope is if we brought as many people here and kind of poured back into Ghana so that could be a capital again globally for Pan-Africanism. So we got Erykah Badu, T-Pain, Jeremiah, myself, Vic, Toby. It was a bunch of artists, and then a bunch of artists, Asaka Boys, Black Sheriff showed up. A bunch of people showed up and
That's dope.
and rocked out, and we did it all for free. But the whole idea was like less, outreach to people. So like it wasn't just Black Americans that came. Like obviously it was a bunch of people in Ghana that were already there. Yeah. But it's a holiday, not a holiday, but like a 2-week long thing out there where people go for Dirty December and go to different music festivals. So our thing was right in the middle of that, like in between Afro Nation and Afro Future, where we had a free one with a bunch of American artists.
That's hard.
And we were able to like in between like educate people and like have all and again, like it's people from Ghana, but it's also people from, like you said, North America, also people from Europe. You know what I'm saying? There's Black communities everywhere. So people was like, oh yeah, I live in Japan. Like, you know what I'm saying? I live in wherever. Like I'm from Ireland. Like I'm meeting all these different Black folks from different communities that are all like, I guess just interested or curious about building community. And that way we could be there and speak in confidence and like plan and do all those things. And so something that we want to do consistently. I had to like take a break this past year because I was trying to make an album.
Oh, Jesus.
But yeah, it's I think it definitely had reverberating effects on all the people that was there, because it wasn't just that day. Like there's the day of the concert, but then we had like a bunch of panels. We had different like different like parties, like day parties and stuff. Everything like a market. We had like different things that were like built on these different pillars. It was super raw.
We have to go to. I'm like, I've been so.
I think that's the concept.
Dave Chappelle spoke at the university.
Oh, that's
like
crazy.
it was hella shit going on.
Next trip.
Yeah, we're gonna do it again. Like low key, y'all should help us.
I would love to, because that
We need
education
to.
piece is so important. I was talking about like even one thing that I loved about even my college experience was, I remember, I'll never forget when we had as a part of our Black like male collegiate society meeting. It was kind of like everyone. We brought in the Black like women who were in college or whatever, their organization, and we just had like a big like Black diaspora talk.
Yeah.
And we got to like, I saw perspectives with people from like Africa, like students who had came, and then people who are like African American here. And the conversation went really well because when you get people in a room and they actually like care and they are not seeing like all the the social media narratives and shit. You get to really talk about that community and how important it is for Black people. And I wanted to kind of take it back to before we get to the general Black people lens, and obviously like across the diaspora. Let's start with you and your upbringing growing up, because we all come from the same place, or kind of come from similar cloth. So I wanted to dive into that bit about you growing up in Chicago. And kind of the effect that it had on us, because it's known that we grew up with like a lot of the music, but one thing that we also grew up with was niggas lying.
First of all, niggas is lying. Nah, I'm about to say. So Well, first of all, where did you like grow up or like born at?
Yeah.
Like what?
I was born at Michael Reese Hospital, which is not around anymore. But like a lot of people in my generation was like the last people to be born at Michael Reese. I low-key don't know my first address because we lived around the corner from where I was raised at in like an apartment building with just my mom and my dad when I was probably they told me till I was like 2. And then my dad bought the house that he grew up in 2 blocks away on 80th and Princeton.
Okay.
So like, you know what I'm saying? Right at the edge of West Chatham, basically Auburn Gresham, but like right by Simeon,
that's right
on the same block as the West Chatham Park entrance. And basically my great grandmother, who was like very in the church and in the movement, she raised my dad because my grandmother had my dad really young. So the house that she raised him in and raised my grandmother in was the house that my dad raised me in. So we all stayed in that same crib. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of a family house, so cousins would stay with us, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it was, I that's where I was raised in terms of the house. But then I went to school not in my neighborhood. So I didn't go to Westcott, and I didn't go to, well, Simeon's not really, I don't know if Simeon's a neighborhood school.
Yeah,
I feel like it's vocational, but I don't know if you have to like
kinda,
test or whatever to get in there.
Yeah, Simeon is slightly different. I just remember playing against them.
Yeah,
like
the Wolverines.
Yeah. Boy, and I was funny. I was an
Teammates for every sport.
Never a good
The HF and Simeon games always went crazy.
Oh
Never a
my
good
gosh, boy! And I was gonna say I was a baseball kid, so I didn't even get to like. We didn't catch the ass whooping in basketball. We caught the ass whooping in baseball. And it was
Greatest sport.
Yeah, he's just amazing at
Nigga,
sports.
you saw that coach losing his mind when they played.
Bro, I was gonna bring up the reason why I wanted to know too is because I was gonna bring up, obviously we from the south suburbs, so we're from like the Homewoods, the Glenwoods, the Harveys, all of that. Yeah. All that shit.
Grew up literally like 25 minutes maybe from like 79th.
Yeah.
Like Gray. So we've been like.
And one thing that has always been true to
Everybody
where
and they
we
mama,
live
bro.
is I remember, cause like I wasn't a big music. Well, I was a big music head because my dad's a preacher, so my whole family in the church. I've been a big music head, but like I wasn't like finding my own music, bro. I had a Nokia, bro. I couldn't get the shit like that.
That's
I'm gonna keep it
hilarious.
big.
Boy, I ain't had my first like freely downloaded song until I must have been like a freshman.
I was a freshman in high school.
What was that app that we was using? It wasn't an app. It was like some malware or some shit. Like
It was called like, was it the yellow one?
Or like Morpheus or like one.
I think it was Morpheus.
Morpheus was right after
It was
LimeWire.
it was Morpheus, and then it was Spinrilla.
Spinrilla.
There was
So
one
many
app I
illegal
found.
downloaded
There was one
songs.
app I found on my
SoundCloud.
Galaxy Tab 4, and it was called like Treble or some shit.
Treble.
And basically what it would do is it would take like YouTube URLs from the music and like save it so that you could download it to your phone because we couldn't
That's
pay for
hard.
Spotify and shit.
Yeah.
So
The whole virus, nigga.
Nah,
it was.
and the crime, nigga.
Why?
Don't indict yourself.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
When I was 13 or something. Goddamn. It's the president. Okay. So I remember during that time, we hadn't been exposed to like all your music, but before we were exposed to hell of your music, we was exposed to the fact that everyone was related to you.
Everybody
Everybody said they was my cousin.
Everybody.
Bro,
I was
bro.
gonna ask you, right? I'm like, have you ever heard that? Because where we grew up, everybody and their mom was like,
Everyone.
Chance, my cousin, I just went to this thing with him the other day. And I'm like, I ain't never seen a picture of you niggas with
That's
him.
my cousin. I'm like, nigga, you live next to me. We don't live good, nigga. I'm like, what?
I'm like, that's not
That's not your cousin.
You know what's funny is like that was a thing where people would be like, you know what I'm saying, that's my cousin. But what's funny is nowadays I feel like my friends be getting mad because I tell them that everybody is my cousin. Not famous people, but like we'll be at a show or something, like they laughing right now. We'll be somewhere, I'll be like, oh yeah, go get my cousin from downstairs. And it'd be a nigga that's not my cousin. But that's just the thing in Chicago. You got hella play cousins, play brothers, play
True.
sisters.
Like,
yeah,
like
And
aunties,
people you
uncles,
grow up
all
with,
types
you
of
just call
shit.
them
Yeah.
that.
So
Yeah.
I feel like maybe half of them people was lying, but also some of them might like they mom worked with my mom, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like people that's your cousin, like, and then you got church cousins, like,
Yeah,
I got
church.
hella
I got hella church aunties,
you know what I'm saying?
cousins.
All it takes for you to be seen in the church.
Nigga, I had a nigga text me the other day. I'm like, who the fuck is this? He's like, oh, I'm from church. I'm like, damn. I'm like,
That's your cousin.
yeah, that's my cousin. I'm like, what's good with
I was
you?
gonna say, I
You owe
think
him
that,
bread when you get up.
I think that kind of speaks to like the community part of being in Chicago and everything, because I just being around here, I know a million people have probably like seen you and had different interactions. I think something that I always wanted to ask, and even when kids would like say that, because one of the few songs I was exposed to growing up was No Problems. That was one of them ones that went everywhere. Boy, that was actually like, yeah, I was playing that song so much.
Put that bitch
And-
at platinum my damn self. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah.
So I wanted to, and I was gonna say, as a kind of curious, as an outsider looking in, somebody who's kind of only felt the music, I am so curious as to like at that point in time, what was it like creating that song? Like, what is the studio session like at that point?
That was a funny one, because that was one of the examples of like a song where I didn't have a beat. I just had like a line, and the line was, if one more label try to stop me, it's gonna be some dreadhead niggas in the lobby. And then the beat drops. That's what I would say every time. And I used to, one of the people that work with me, Colleen, shout out to Colleen, we would just drive around, I'd randomly just say that shit, and then I'd be like, and then the beat drop. And one day I was in the studio, I heard a beat that felt like, this gonna be the one. This gonna be the one. And what's funny is No Problems is one of those ones that I had like for like a year before the album dropped, like before I was finished with it, where I was like, I got the beat, I laid that part that happens right before the beat drop, and then I think I had You Don't Want No Problems With Me once I got on the beat, like when I did the freestyle scratch take, and then the verse was all gibberish. and then it just come back to You Don't Want No Problems With Me, and then it's just sat like that for like a year, and then probably maybe a week or two, maybe 3 weeks before the album came out. Oh no, I'm wrong, because there was a whole sample process too. So basically, I finally filled in the lyrics. Then I was like, then I hit up Wayne to get on it, and then I had the same idea that I got with this ride thing, where I was like, these people are seen together, so let me like pour into the fact that they're going to do projects together. So if you remember, like they did a project together called Collard Grove, 2 Chainz and Lil Wayne. So I got once I got Lil Wayne on there, I was like, oh, I should just hit up Chainz and see if he'll get on the record. And now I got like basically them as like a unit together. I did the same thing with Do or Die and Twister. So I'm about to drop the remix on Friday.
I seen that. I seen that, bro. Twister.
Twister. Good God,
Yo,
man.
I'm already
like
bumping that
was
shit
it like
heavy.
a snippet or something?
No, it was the
No,
So the
he came
remix is
out-
coming out. The
Yeah.
song that they had dropped, like, nigga.
Yeah. They did a
Wait,
video for
you
Do
talking about the
You
one that was
or
on the album, right?
Yeah, Ride or Die, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Boy, I was gonna say, Twister's one of them people who like always impresses me with like his verses all the time.
Wait,
he been doing it. You gotta check in.
Am
with
I
it, bro.
tripping? Wait, because I'm like, bro, I listened to that album probably 3 times yesterday.
Twister's not on it.
He
That's
not
not
on
on
there right
it.
now.
No.
Okay.
We're gonna drop a
drop the
remix.
remix.
Oh, okay. That's
yeah,
why I was like,
yeah,
did y'all hear it already?
This video's gonna come out like after that probably. So I was like,
Fire.
I might as well say it on the pod. It's not like
Yeah.
formally announced yet, but
Okay, bet.
But it's like same idea where I'm like, okay, I know that that as a unit, these people are like strong together and like seen together. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me pour into the fact that they, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that they're going to do more work together without speaking on their business. Like, I think that, and they're like legendary, you know what I'm saying? Super legendary. Not even just in the Chicago hip hop, but just in hip hop in terms of building blocks, like they're foundational. So I'm like, let me get them two together too. But yeah, I feel like when I made No Problems, I was in a space of like, you know, it's funny how I look at stuff when I'm in it versus like how the general public looks on it in the past. But like, I kind of took a break a little bit, or like I'm always taking like unorthodox pathways. But if you think about it, like from 10 Day, when that dropped, was a time when the city was super buzzing with like major labels, because Keith was at that exact same time.
That
Don't Like
time,
Remix.
Everywhere.
you had
Everybody was
Keith,
making music.
you
Everybody
had-
was,
Everybody was
Keith,
getting deals
Lil Durk,
too. So like
Cinco Mob, like
it's
D-Lo.
it's a lot of people that like Dirk got a deal at that same time. Like I think I could be wrong, but I feel like Herb got signed around that time. Like there was a lot of residual. Louis, like a lot of people started getting deals in that climate, and we were all way more coagulated, playing like the same venues and stuff, and like people were collaborating with each other from across the city or from different genres. And I was probably supposed to sign in that time, and I didn't. I ended up doing Ass Rap again, independently. And then when I didn't sign after Acid Rap, what probably would have been more orthodox is if I had dropped, you know, a album officially. But then I did a project with Peter Cottontail and Nico Segal and Nate Fox and Styx called Surf. And so that was like kind of pulling away from this momentum that I had, or at least publicly, that's how people discussed it. I felt like it was one of my most important projects, and it had all these raw features. J. Cole was on there, and you know, Erykah Badu, and
I gotta go back and
all
listen
these people.
to that.
It was insane. Like when I go back and listen to it, but it wasn't as popular because I put it out under a different name. The name of the artist was Donnie Trumpet and the Social Experiment.
Okay, that's why I had. I need to go back and tap in. That's why I must have missed it.
That was like a thing that happened that kind of like, if I was taking the stairs, like people would say like I took a misstep. But then right after that, like I think the next year was when Coloring Book came out, and that like
Nuts.
But have y'all ever heard Sunday Candy?
Sunday Candy. I don't remember that one.
It's crazy. How old are y'all? Because I need to know. I'm not saying it in that way, but I just gotta know. I just gotta know now.
I was gonna say I don't blame, because the thing about the discography with a lot of people that we kind of grew up listening to is that we were too young to internalize a lot of it initially when it came out.
Yeah.
So as soon as we hit like 17, 18, now it's a rush to go
like
back.
Consciousness just arrived.
I love it though, because it shows me like there's these different generations of people and different just pockets of people based on experience, because our music as individuals, as artists, like it taps into all of our different influences, which might be from a whole bunch of different places. Like the movies we like may not be like the music that we like, or may not be like the books that we like, or the sports that we like. And so all those things come into one place, and when it goes out, you have different people in different pockets that are like, oh, I love that. I don't know, this random reference.
Yeah.
But then a whole person from a different space might recognize something different in the music. And I just think that's so cool when I find out stuff like that.
But like that's why it's so subjective in itself, just music, because it's like you can pull inspiration, not only as an artist, you can pull inspiration from anywhere, right? But even as a listener, like there's so much music that 2 years ago I'm like, bro, I'm not listening to. And I listen to that shit all day, every day today. You know what I'm saying?
I wanted to say, because like even just around the time you made like Acid Rap, like you kind of like went against the grain, like making that like it's not a typical like Chicago sound, not even just in general, especially at that time. Like there's this one video me and Matt always be laughing. It's with you and Lucky, because Lucky's like one of my favorite artists. He was like, "Fo, you made cloud rap, Fo." You but overall, just like I wanted to ask, like, how did it feel around that time, kind of going against the grain? And I know that's kind of like uncomfortable, because like no one was really kind of what you was on for real.
Yeah, I feel like that's always my like greatest weapon, and I think that's anybody's greatest weapon is being a disruptor and being like yourself and different in a space. What's funny is like people never like you know, me and Lucky, like I don't even want to say grew up together, because he's like 2 or 3 years younger than me, but like Lucky was in the same after school, like, you know what I'm saying, open mic poetry program.
That shit is hard.
That makes so much sense when you know his music.
There's a video of me and Lucky freestyling. We both ugly as hell in front of the library downtown. Like freestyle.
Oh, the one. Yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about. The red one.
Yeah, that's like that's no, that's my dog. And like I think that's the reason why, you know what I'm saying, the alternative trap shit turned up, is because it was like, this is my sound. He was like, I'm gonna be myself, you know what I mean? And I think like all the people that came from my John Doe, No Name, Vic Mensa, like we were all in this after school program together, like going to do open mics together.
And you can tell like in the writing ability and the in the vein of going back and listening to so much music, this nigga here has single-handedly shifted my music taste a lot over the last year. He put me a lot on to a lot more No Name. And that's in that similar like vein of like, and there's just something about the production and the like the risks that y'all take, I guess, artistically when it comes comes to messaging that is always more entertaining.
It's the risk, bro.
Even like
It's
even
the
your
risk.
brother, like he had a song with Kyle, and I remember listening to that song. It had to have been like maybe 2016, 2017. I was listening to that all the time, and I'm like, that wasn't something I really heard all the time. Even just being from Chicago and like people criticizing you for like listening to that. Like I wanted to ask, like, was there a lot of people criticizing you at the time with the music you made, or even like your brother?
I didn't feel the criticism when the music would drop. There was a weird time when like I first started getting on late night TV where I would feel like I see little shit on internet, what's it called, on Twitter, where people would be saying stuff about like my singing ability. These people that I knew though, like again, like we all, Chicago's very small.
Very fucking
And
small.
especially the artist scene, everybody from like, cause I've been rapping since I was 14. So like I was going to open mics, going to Big Mouth, going to Beat Kitchen, going to different spaces and trying to rap since I was 14. And a lot of these people were my senior. They were older than me or out of high school and you know what I'm saying, trying to make it the same. And so like when I remember when I did Arsenio Hall, and like I've forgiven everybody, so anybody sees I'm bringing it up. They're like, 11 years ago, nigga. All my cousins.
You see what that nigga was saying on the
But it's like when I did that joint, I remember people was like hating on that shit, and it was a big deal for me because like the way I think about it is like when you are an artist, you have your own set of goals that's based on what you've seen your favorite artists do. And so for me, like, I think one of the most important things or signs of me being on or famous is me being able to do SNL. Cause I grew up loving SNL. And I grew up, I used to have a video recording that my real blood cousin gave me of MC Hammer doing double duty, meaning like he was hosting and a musical guest. So since I was a kid, I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. But I remember being criticized when I first did it, like, oh, why are you doing SNL? Or that's how you know he signed because he's on SNL. But it's like, no, I really want to do it. I feel the same way about Wildin' Out. Like some people may not put emphasis as artists.
I remember
Some people, I've done it like 5 times, and I keep going back even when I don't have like a project coming out because it's like that's to me being a rapper. Like it's like you, and I think everybody has their own things. They might be like, oh, for me, I'll know I'm on when I get a collab with this fashion house, or I'll know I'm on when I can, you know what I'm saying, play this venue or do this video with, or collab with this artist. Like we all have our own goals and like lines that we set up. And I feel like when I first did late night, that was one of the things, because obviously I grew up a Ye fan, and I used to see him on certain late night shows, or Drake. I'm a huge Drake fan, so like, or Kendrick. Like I'm seeing these people play on different late night shows, and for me, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what I want to do. And so when I got on the Arsenio Hall, I did this song, Chainsmoker, and you know what I'm saying? I felt like we rocked that bitch. Like I felt like it was super crucial. But I remember getting home and seeing like people being like, why is he singing, or he's trying so hard, and I was like, I was blew by that because I was a kid.
Like, also because you just wasn't doing the stereotypical kind of like rapper shit, so they kind of put you in that box.
I was gonna say that I feel like, and we talked about this like a few weeks ago, I think. It's like, bro, niggas be scared to show their personality with this shit.
For real, bro.
Like the whole aura shit, that aura shit, and all of that shit has taken over. And what we talked about last episode, where we were like, bro, if everybody just try and be different, bro, you come to find out that none of y'all niggas is really different. You're not really putting your genuine self out there.
Yeah,
you know
and
what
then
I'm
you'll
saying?
criticize like people for like, putting their genuine self. I think the thing that I wanted to ask was, because you talk about the inspiration, like getting that from your cousin and like having your inspiration shape like what you wanted to go on and do. You also talk a lot about like your family, your parents, and your music. I wanted to start first with what inspiration or like messaging do you think has come through in your music because of that? Because I feel like there's so much things that go into being like a musical artist, and like the type of nigga who will sit there and hate on someone being on SNL on Twitter
is insane.
Is like there's so many other layers to this shit.
They got booty crumbs in his ass. Not going nowhere. Not going nowhere.
So what like impact do you think like your upbringing and your family mainly like did when it comes to you charting your own path in the music scene?
I think a lot. I think my like in terms of just values that was instilled, like and being like super loved on by my parents and shit is like my dad was super strict and super disciplined, and like, you know what I'm saying, like a person that believed wholeheartedly that he should be working on anything he's working on with the full understanding that he's doing it for his kids and for his family around. So my dad was like, you know what I'm saying, doesn't come from money, like that, like has a whole family around him of people that like always kind of depended on him to have a good job, basically. And you know what I'm saying, like I feel like he had to grow up fast, being, like I said, like his mother had him young, so he, you know what I'm saying, was kind of like always the oldest cousin, but also like I think one of the few men in the space that was like,
in the house.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think he always had this, like, I always talk about it, he has this saying about you got to move the couch. Like he used to, like, we obviously had chores and shit that we had to do around the crib. My dad was
every Saturday, Sunday.
Super extra with it. We had nightly chores.
Yeah, we had
nightly
I
chores.
woke up, I heard that Marvin Gaye play downstairs. I'm like,
It's
oh,
over.
It's one of those days
over
you're not
with.
going nowhere.
no.
But he
Sunday
used to
night.
do this thing where we had different chores, and one of the things that I used to hate the most was sweeping, because we had to move all the furniture in the house and sweep and mop the floors. And if we would choose one couch, like, or one piece of furniture that we was not gonna move, like we already been slaving away for hours, we'd go to sleep, and my dad would wait till a specific time at night, like 2 in the morning.
No, that's some bullshit.
And rip the covers off, or spray us with water, or do something to violently wake us up, and then come into the living room and move the couch and put his finger across the board and be like, do everything
Like, this
again.
shit ain't-
But he had this, you know, obviously that's the most extreme version of it, but it instilled this idea that was like, you know, do everything like you're sweeping the floors, like move the couch on anything you're working on, those small details that
Giving you 100%.
Yeah. If you're just cleaning up like you think you're going to have company, you're never going to clean up for real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What if they drop their earring behind the couch and then they move it and it's fucking Cheetos?
Yeah.
and shit?
Cheetos,
Like,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
That's
Like,
real. That's real.
So it's like with lyricism, especially with this project, I feel like I was super on some like, let me move the couch on every single.
Nah, you definitely
line.
moved that motherfucker. You definitely
Like,
moved that
I gotta,
motherfucker.
because there might be somebody that prints out all the lyrics and, you know what I'm saying, with a highlighter and a fucking magnifying glass, like looks at each word like and says, oh my God, this is the best album. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
And-
fire.
That's real.
But and then for my mother, like my mom owned a successful hair salon in the 90s when she was really young, and put a lot of people in position, and was always like very community based and, you know, work for yourself kind of person. Like she always had jobs where she could be, if not the boss, at least her boss. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, right.
I feel like just in how I move and how I like think about business decisions, how to hire people, how to be like like both of my parents, like a center to an ecosystem. Like I think I get both of those things from them.
Did you ever think that your parents didn't understand the direction that you were taking?
100%. A
Oh,
lot,
shit.
but especially my dad.
I'm so curious.
Especially
like,
my dad, but my mom's just always been like, I don't know. I think both my parents didn't finish college. My mom went to beauty school, but my dad didn't finish school, and a lot of people in my family didn't finish school, except for my aunties. They'll be mad if I don't say that. But like,
You gotta mention the aunt.
but I feel like there was like a pressure on me to go to college. I went to Jones, which is a college prep school, and we used to have like classes called college knowledge and shit like that. But my favorite album growing up was the College Dropout. I was indoctrinated to believe college didn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So like I was just always kind of like in terms of school, I was basically not there. Like my whole junior year, I was basically not there. And then the other 3 years of high school, I was physically there, but I wasn't like, I would like not bring my backpack to school, or like I always tell the story. They thought that I was like doing this crazy shit. Basically, like I would not go to school so much or not come to class so much that when I finally did have to come back, it was like always on a test day or like a final day. And so I would be like being real with you as a teacher, like I don't know what the fuck y'all are talking about. So I'm gonna just give you this test back. Like, it would be disrespectful for both of us if I just wrote random shit on the paper.
I was gonna say, none of us finished college.
Like, I'm like, man, so I would give it back to them, but then they thought I was being disrespectful by giving it to them blank. Yeah. So, or really they said that it was bogus. I was giving it to them before the class was over. So I wait till the end of class and then give them the test. But then at a certain point, I would forget that I even had a test. So I just shove all the things on my desk into my backpack when the bell would ring and walk out of class. And so they called me into the office one day and they said every other class that's not the class that you in has severely higher test scores than you. So we believe that you're taking the time to take the test from the class that you're not turning in and giving it to the other class so they know the questions ahead of time.
What type of bullshit?
You think I'm running
this is Ocean's 11? Like, I don't care at all about this building. Yet alone the test.
They say they done contract the chance to go
I'm like, I can low-key bring you all those tests. They're probably crumpled up at the bottom of my backpack. Like, I don't even know where my backpack is. Like, I don't even know why we meeting.
I think we've each had, the reason why I laugh is not because it's like, not necessarily because it's funny, but it's because we've each experienced. I know vividly what you're talking about, that feeling of not being there when you were in school. And I think it was worse. I was gonna say, speaking from at least one example I had, because I was like a borderline goody two shoes when I was in high school. So I was a student body president, and by the time I got to the end of the year, it wasn't even nothing that you were telling me, nigga. I remember even during junior year, because I was during the pandemic. We had I had like first period gym. I had to wake up early in the morning. I did not come to that class, boy. Like they were like calling about like me not being in class, and I'm like, this does not mean necessarily that I don't give a fuck about like learning
the world,
the world or anything, which is the assumption that's made. But like, I'm gonna keep it a bean. I'm not about to. I'm just not functional in that. Like sometimes.
It's a system, yo. Yeah. That's like a big, that's why I believe one of the biggest motifs of the album, or one of the most important ones, like, and I touch on it on a bunch of different songs, is like being graded by a system that's arbitrary. Like, and that being something that is a universal problem that anybody could fall into, but especially when you black and you growing up and you not famous yet, you don't got money yet, it's very, very tough to operate in that world. And I feel like, you know, whether it's drapetomania or talking about, you know what I'm saying, the medical malpractice, like just like misdiagnosing or, you know what I'm saying, labeling people is like a form of oppression. Like, and it's like something that can have violent, you know what I'm saying, reactions. And I think with throughout this album, I talk about how in school I was, you know what I'm saying, like I was placed in LD and in SPED. I had an IEP, so I was basically isolated to certain spaces sometimes to be in a room with who they would call the slow class. But I always felt, since I was young and before I got put into these programs, like I was incredibly bright, and that's what people would tell me, and that I was well spoken, and I had like a great memory and all these things. You know what I'm saying? But once I had that label, it affected the way that I worked. And so there's a lot of different parts in this album that talk about how I was graded. You know what I'm saying? And so there's even a part in the intro where I said I had an F-, but that's behind us. And I think if people don't understand the motif of how I'm talking about being misgraded my whole life, they'll mistake that for me saying that I thought I ever made an F-. And I'm saying that nowhere from school through my discography have I ever had an F. I always have excelled and succeeded in anything that I executed on.
I think that's so important. I was gonna say, because of just like breaking those stigmas, that labeling being a form of oppression is something that people don't talk about enough, because like, especially as a kid and when you're young and impressionable, what people say about you has way more weight on like how you're gonna carry yourself than especially of course when you're older. So if you're told like you're in this category. You're like, either you have learning disability, you got to be in these classes or whatever. Even it doesn't really take into account how you might feel under everything. But just kind of putting that label that not only stigmatizes like yourself in your own mind, but to other people, they will always do that. And that, I feel like that contributes to a lot of how, like, even when you talk about being graded, like we're gonna talk about like public backlash, like how people be talking. We've already talked a little bit about people be talking on social media about like artists' work and all types of shit. And it's like, it feels like there is just general, like people don't see it as oppression because it's not like I'm hitting you or something.
It's like it's like here, say what you want to say, Alan.
I was saying it's kind of like no one like really sees it as oppression because it's that traditional system of like this is what you're supposed to be doing. But I related to that so much because like when I was in school, I felt like I was like misplaced in a lot of classes. I was not belonging in. Like I remember going to HF like freshman year. I'm like, nigga, I do not belong in these classes. These kids bad as fuck. But overall, what it did to my mind was it made me not feel like as worthy as someone who was smart. Because, like I said, like people did say I was bright, but at the same time, how can I feel bright when they're placing me as something that makes me feel so stupid and like work like not worthy?
No, I think words are like we never really talk about how important words are, and that's like that's probably the overarching like motif of the whole album is how important words are. Even the Richard Pryor at the beginning talks about how when people are silenced, they feel like they can only react through action. You know what I'm saying? And through burning and through, you know what I'm saying, reclaiming things. And so
it connects on so many.
We're gonna talk about that.
I think with like words, like with how we label people, I think that's the reason why what's his name, Donald Trump, murdered two different like groups of people that were on boats coming. Like, and we not really reacting to that shit at all. There's no international backlash.
Like nobody.
I'll tell you why. Because he used specific language. It's a thing that he's good at.
First thing that's
criminality
the only thing.
is one of the major like dehumanizing things. Like when you call someone a criminal, you take away their right as a human being. And it's like
human right.
We forget that like criminality is even just based on people judging. Like it's like the system is not perfect. We all
especially if you made a system to purpose
to criminalize people.
It's because when you look at it as like that individual moral failing and like you yourself is a dumb kid or you yourself are a criminal or whatever, that's how you dehumanize because it negates from the fact that these are all products of society. Like someone's decision and someone's criteria, how they made this curriculum is what is not serving like children.
I don't even think there's been an investigation to what was on the boat.
They just said some shit. They just said it was drugs.
But once you call someone a criminal, it's up. You know
then it's justified in their own mind because that's the worst person possible.
But he murdered those people.
And that's not a crime.
Using words. Like he didn't have to even kill them. Like that's the craziest thing to me is like, I don't know if you've ever heard somebody say, like I've heard many people say, I've said it before, like it'd be tough to be president of the United States because you would de facto become a war criminal, right? Our interests lead towards that direction. And I've heard people say like, I couldn't be a president because I'm not a murderer. But it's like, once you get in that position, you find out who people are and who they've always been awaiting that power. And it's like, folks murdered a lot of people. A lot of people so far.
Not even just the boat thing, like even just the whole thing, like the attack on Chicago and like overall just
using the
labeling
words to
as
get
criminals.
Yeah.
And that's why people think Chicago is such a dangerous place because of those labels.
I'm tripping the other day because I'm watching this nigga bomb these 11 people in this boat. And they talking about drugs and it's drugs and all types of, they're criminals. It's 11 people on this little ass boat. In the middle of the water, nobody went up to the boat, nobody talked to nobody, none of that shit. International waters, you bomb these niggas talking about, it's cocaine on that bitch, it's drugs, it's whatever on that bitch.
And in like half of the country's mind, that's all it will take because like we said, if we treat the problem with like drugs or drug abuse as something that like the American government is can be an active participator in as opposed to like just a bystander, then that means that there's something we can do to lift up like people. But if you just it's drugs, kill them, like you said, you've already kind of killed them.
We was
talking about Brian
Kill them
Keaton.
is crazy.
We was saying the other day, we was like,
you know what I'm saying? Like, these niggas kayaking. Those people are gone, yo.
Yeah.
Gone.
we was saying, I said this shit when we did our episode about it. I'm like, 11 people on that boat. Let's just say, for sake of argument, it was drugs on that boat. Plus the 11 people, that little ass boat, right? The
No other deterration.
Gang, the cruise missile that was sent to murk them niggas was a $2 million cruise missile. I guarantee you, whatever they had on that boat probably didn't even equal what y'all used to kill them niggas.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
It's like like. Have y'all ever seen Toy Story?
Yeah.
Y'all know who Sid is? The
Yeah.
badass kid? Like,
Badass kid with the gas in his teeth and shit.
like, you gotta see what people do with power when
Yeah.
they get it
Yeah.
to understand if they're great or nothing.
You know, that's why I never fucked with action figures growing up.
Oh, well,
I ain't
'cause
never,
Sid.
bro. I used to watch Sid and that shit, and I'm like, bro, I feel like that shit fuck your brain up. You having power over as a kid.
it's
You
like-
having power over little
like
people and
humans.
shit. Yeah, like,
But not everybody takes them and like burns them or like
True.
missile bombs
Yeah.
them. Like some people just play with
I
the
used to have
toys or
cousins
like
that
put
cut
them in
their head
position
off
to look
and
great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, or like some people go the other step. They do the other way where it's like, oh, these are people, so I should like care for them.
You know
like,
what
let
I'm
me
saying?
advocate for the like
That's
do
what
what
I'm
you
saying.
got. Yeah, and I feel like that's something that at least you can train kids from a younger age to like be functioning humans. But when I'm looking at like stuff that the president's tweeting, I'd watch the footage of them striking them people.
Yeah.
You know what's
we
crazy?
all just watching the footage now. People
Yeah.
getting bombed. I'm like, bro, this does a lot of damage that you don't
Yeah.
even see.
There's like I feel like I was making the Sid reference because I feel like the buttons that you can press in the office is too much power.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know
Way
what I'm
too
saying?
much.
even just over the whole army.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Even
saying?
the
Then,
pen
like-
that he used to write his little executive orders and shit.
Yeah.
Especially when you already have a hidden agenda to label those people as criminals. So
Yeah.
those aren't people.
Too many buttons.
Nope.
No, it's too many
many.
buttons.
There's a lot
too
of
much
power. Yeah.
And I feel like when there was like the first time that he got the buttons, everybody was like, whoa, he shouldn't have the buttons, right?
Yeah.
And then, but like that interim time, those 4 years, like there was nothing done to reduce the power of the office.
No,
And
it just grew
think
while
it's
everyone
like,
was.
I'd be just thinking like, are we in hopes that the next person that would assume power would just be like a better person with those same buttons, or do we limit the amount of buttons that person gets?
That is a very good.
That's a
We have to
question.
put a pin in it because we're gonna come back through this in the themes of the album that we're gonna talk about. 'Cause
Yeah, true.
I want to ask one question and then we're gonna pivot into like the you know
album
rolling
breakdown
out
and
and
shit,
then we're gonna get into the narrative. So first, because we're sitting here and we have the opportunity, we mentioned Ye earlier. I'm curious just to think because the clip that kind of pulled all this together was us talking about you being top two, maybe not two, maybe you
two,
top
yeah.
one
Not two, not
when it
two.
comes to pens in Chicago. So I'm curious who your top, like, what do we do, top three or top five?
Top three.
Top three rappers you think from Chicago, in your opinion?
Okay, so I'm number one, right?
Real. Nah,
I wish people would just answer the question like that.
I think it's real.
Go ahead.
I think in terms of pen, it's obviously Lupe. And I
I'm feeling
get
Lupe.
a lot of my influence and careful wording from Lupe. Like that's
real.
That's my rapper's rapper. Like if I was to say, but also I'm a rapper, so there's no world. And also I know what I wrote.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I know
No, that's real.
But I think Lupe is just undeniable. And then
And the third spot.
You mentioned
It's a lot of people
you
that can-
mentioned Ye, but you know how
I would
it
say
is.
people are probably gonna be mad that I would say this or say I said it for a specific reason, but Vic,
Vic.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Nah,
Yeah.
I hear that.
incredible writer.
I feel that. I don't think that that's
it's
like
hard.
insane to
That's
say.
not insane.
I want to
Yeah,
hear
it's
reason.
crazy.
I just people know that we grew up together and stuff, so I don't want them to think I'm picking it because of that. Like I'm just he like on
Dude's
some
like,
some written
yeah.
word.
Also,
You know,
people
What would you
hating
say-
on Vic crazy back then.
yeah, I think Vic for us, like from our view, Vic was the first famous one. So like,
Yeah.
I know people tell the story like I brought this whole scene up, but like Vic used to be in a band called Kids These Days in 2012, and they were playing late night shows and touring and doing a lot of stuff that like shed a lot of light on what was going on in Chicago, especially on some like youthful music scene stuff. This is even before Keith blew up.
Yeah, it was.
So
This-
I feel like Vic in that, and then had a whole nother career, bigger career as a solo artist is like something that gets left out of the conversation sometimes. But it's also like, you also got to remember, Vic has always been radical. Like,
Yeah,
so
he always has been.
Yeah.
my stuff that's subversive on this album is still a little coded. Like, Vic made 16 shots when Laquan McDonald was killed and was everywhere rapping very, very like militant, you know what I'm saying, radical bars, and was advocating for Palestine, went to Palestine,
Yeah. Well
I think
before.
in like 2014.
Yeah.
So like, I think he'll always have a little extra weight to carry because he, you know what I'm saying, is so vocal. But like, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to the skill itself, like, Lupe is the only thing separating me and Vic.
Talk about, I want to say real quick, talk about like, because you said growing up with him. Like, I obviously know during this rollout and everything, he's probably been a big sort of like push through all of this. Talk about that, like you guys' relationship.
Yeah, so me and Vic grew up together, like, and I can't understate that. So like, we like some of our first times in the studio, some of our first performances in front of a crowd, a lot of things we shared at the same time. And as we both grew, like, and even before that, we would butt heads just because we was in a, I don't know if y'all use this word anymore, but we was in a clique. Have y'all ever heard of it?
We do.
We was in a clique. So like, we used to run around and do shit, but we also used to like argue over dumb small shit. And then as we got older, like our careers like went and going up, like there was always a competitive nature. And I think it wasn't until 2020 or maybe 2021 when I like had a conversation with my dad about all of the positive things that have come from being in community with Vic, which is like not just the shows and like him getting me, you know, Vic is technically in a roundabout way very responsible for me going on tour with Childish Gambino, which made me, which took like acid rap on the, not acid rap, I'm sorry, 10 Day on the road. So I wouldn't have had the foundation for acid rap without the foundation from touring 10 Day, which I got from going, opening up for Childish, which I got from playing a show with Vic where he let me come up on stage and Childish Gambino's publicist saw me.
Damn, that's so crazy.
If you just give your homie an inch, like, and if they really want it, like, they're going to pause. Look.
Everyone to let it rock.
I'm big up to my homie. I'm big up to my homie. I'm just saying, like, sometimes we be so stingy to like give somebody a look that we think is small to us and not gonna do much for them or a huge act for them, but you give that one small moment and it can have reverberating effects if they really like are trying to like utilize that look. And I was like, every opportunity that I would get, any opportunity I get to be on stage, I'm acting like I'm trying to get signed or something.
Yeah,
to this day, I love to perform. So that changed a lot of stuff, but not just the looks. It's also like when it comes to being in a studio and working with somebody, I really do believe, and I don't even want to say believe, I do really know that I'm the best of all time. So when I'm in a room with somebody and I'm writing, sometimes I don't hold myself to the same standard because I don't believe there's a world where this person is gonna out-rap me. Right?
Yeah.
Let
the pen do what you gotta do. If you
But
believe
when
on a
I'm with
different planet.
Vic, I feel a special thing about trying to out-rap Vic. And I'm going the hardest that I can. And so when I had that realization in a conversation with my dad, we had called a meeting of like a bunch of people that, you know what I'm saying, our friends or people I worked with over the years, and was like, yo, I'm about to start making an album. I'm going to call on all of y'all. So Joe Freshgoods, Mary McKean, Brandon Bro, Taryn Reese. There's a bunch of people there. But Vic was one of the people that had to be there. And even after that meeting, I was like, I'm going to call on a lot of these people whenever this album gets done, which ended up being 4 years later. But like, I'm gonna need you to help me right now. So we did a whole bunch of like trips out to LA where we would be doing these writing sessions. Like he, you know what I'm saying, brought me in closer community with Aja Monet, who really helped both of us with the writing prompts and like just thinking about things from a more selfless space and more focused. Like she really helped my process of writing. And so it's something that kind of faded away over time, like, cause I'm not that obedient or disciplined, but she would have me do this exercise where if I was going on a song, before I could like try and punch cut it at the mic or even just start straight up writing the verse. I had to sit down, listen to this song called Process by Samora Penderhughes, which is a 6-minute amazing record just about being open and sharing the words that you have with people before you lose them. And I have to sit and listen to it and think about all the things that I want to say. Then I could start listening to the beat. And then I had to stay in that room in front of those speakers writing that verse and hopefully verse and a hook before I could get up. Because I have, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have problems with like sitting and staying focused on something. If I feel like it's beating me, I'm gonna just go on to the next
same
thing.
shit. Same shit.
Boy,
Like, this shit beat me,
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back to it. But like, no, you have to sit down and get an entire verse out. You know what I'm saying? And that process would take me like 2 hours. But that's how I wrote the highs and the lows. That's how I wrote a few of the songs.
That song
on
is
there.
insane.
Wow. I was gonna say there's so many layers to it because I don't think people, at least even at home, kind of know the full breadth of what it takes when it comes to like, you know, the writing exercises that go into writing an album. That's always something that I find like super interesting because you would never
Just
guess
the process
that, like,
in general.
Yeah, you would never
Yeah.
guess that like that additional song will help you pull like that inspiration. Because I don't know. I feel like I'm not a nigga who could write. I feel like I would love to try rapping at some point, but like the whole writing
Such
and
a
getting
fun
yourself
art,
out of that,
Yeah, hell yeah.
getting yourself out of that writer's block is something that I feel like is like, damn, I don't know how I do it, but like
it also like helps you. It's just like thinking about your job as a trade and that trade being writing. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we focus on all the other things, even things that are technically under the umbrella of rapping, like performing songs.
yeah.
It takes me back to Brother Mike, who was the mentor that taught me and Vic and No Name and Saba and Mick Jenkins and everybody out that library.
Just a Hall of Fame list.
He,
by the
like, like, just know, like, if you like see a familiar or similar sound in Chicago around that time, like all of us were library kids. Like we all went to the same program.
Crazy.
That's so cool.
But I remember Mike pulling me to the side once, and I used to perform this song every week called Brain Cells. And every time I performed it, like the kids would be lit. Like everybody, it's like 70 kids in the room and they sing and they loved it because it was about weed. But like, but also because it was so familiar, I performed it every week. And he pulled me to the side one time and was like, "Hey, if you perform that song next week, I'm not letting you perform anymore." And I'm like, "Damn, it's about weed?" And he like, "No, because you're getting comfortable.
Yeah.
You're a writer. This is an open mic. This is I had tried to perform this song called Prom Night, but I would fuck up the words because it was so long and so new to me that I would just go back to doing Brain Cells." And he was like, "You come back next week and do Prom Night, and whether you fuck up doing it or not, like, I want to see you work through a new piece because you're with, you know what I'm saying? You're amongst your peers. You're in a space where you're growing. This is not a fucking concert. These are not your fans. These are people that you're presenting new works to." And I think if I didn't have that in my mind, I'd be way more comfortable just, you know, performing songs that y'all all know and love. But that's not my purpose. My purpose is to create as much as I can before I'm gone. And with the writing exercises, it makes that trade of creating new works more of a, like, you know, a daily thing as opposed to being like, okay, today's the day I'm going to the studio and now I'm gonna try and make one of the great songs that's gonna be on my album. Like, no, we're always writing, we're always creating, and then some of the writing exercises will become songs. Like they'll become something that you put a verse and another hook and a verse on, and then maybe that'll go on your album. Or if not, it's a concept that you could turn into something for a song. But either way, it's strengthened to the point that it's like, this is a familiar thing. I always write. Sometimes I write for 10 minutes and I make a whole verse. Sometimes I write for 2 hours and I make a whole verse. But either way, I'm a writer, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's a similar creative process actually when it comes to like the podcast and shit sometimes.
Yeah.
Because we're like, it's like you never get a chance to, we get moments to kind of like decouple from the news and shit. But like that's kind of like being in tune with our world, trying to like get as much updated stuff as possible, trying to like find topics that we deeply care about. It's kind of like slowly become a daily exercise as opposed to like, okay, we got to worry about this on a given day thing. And I think, because at least knowing me as a procrastinator, if I do it that way, where I'm like, all right, I'm just wait till this day, I'm never gonna get it done. So that kind of like forces you to push yourself.
Yeah, I like when you were saying, you were talking about how like you just felt like you were the greatest writer in that room, and I feel like that is just stems from the passion, but passion also like fuels that ego. So like I want to ask, like, growing up with those people like a No Name, a Mike, a Vic, like how at the same time did you balance like being like, okay, like I'm the best, but also gaining that inspo for them and like helping your writing?
Yeah, I think I always felt like I was the best. I think like that's what kids that, because I grew up doing like talent shows. I used to dance before I rapped, right? So like I grew up always wanting to be on stage and get adulation and be, you know, adored by people that are coming to see what I do. And from there, I went into poetry, and then I eventually went into rap. I recorded my first rap song. I think I was in 7th grade, and I was like, oh, I love this. Like, I'm good at this. These are my inspirations, but these are all the things that I don't like about them. So I add that into what I do, or pull from other things. So when I was in those spaces in high school, I'm at they called it Lyricist Loft. It was the thing I used to go to at the library. Like you said, there's all these other great artists, Saba, Mick Jenkins, Lucky. I always forget to name certain people, so if I'm missing people,
y'all probably get shot out at some point.
A lot of people. I would be humbled sometimes, mainly by Fatima, mainly by No Name.
Yeah.
Like, because she's just a writer. You know what I'm saying? But she would big up me and I big up her, and we'd be like, you know what I'm saying? We were very, very close when we were younger. And I think that closeness allowed me to be inspired and pull from her as inspiration. And I think we all were so galvanized by Brother Mike, because he always told us that we were artists already. So I think that was the thing that also separated it, that allowed me to be like, it's not like I'm training y'all to become artists, or that once you get signed or get fans, you'll become an artist. You're an artist right now. What are all the things that you could do to keep getting better at your craft, so that by the time you're an adult, it's not only a trade for you, but you're also, you know, the best in your field, and you've done this many performances, you've done this many, you know what I'm saying, writing workshops or whatever.
Yeah, that type of confidence is what people need for real.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I want to take that and kind of like go through what it's like living with that. So we've talked about like where you've come from, obviously like the growing up, working on the pen, working on the music skills. And I kind of wanted to get a gauge for where you were like from 2019 to now, because the last time you dropped was 2019, and then this album has been in the works. I want to ask, like, what was the mental state and the things that you had to keep doing to keep getting better after The Big Day came out? Because we all saw like the internet talk. A lot of us got swept up in it as well, because as kids, you seeing like the social media people laughing, people making fun of everything. And
I'm so glad you bring that up. Because I think what we don't use to contextualize it ever is we were all like coming into a new age of music that we didn't really understand, which is the era of shit posts.
Yeah, I was say bullshit. If we being honest, bullshit.
Shit post, rage bait, trolls, and most importantly, the thing that we really didn't start having like public discourse about until the battle was bots. Like we never really,
oh my goodness,
we never really talked about that. And I think what's important to understand is like bots have a purpose. Like if somebody's paying for, they call it PS and NS, so positive sentiment and negative sentiment. So you can program accounts to have, you know, varying responses that are either negative or positive to push something, to pull something back. And I think not only was like the general public unfamiliar with that stuff, but I was unfamiliar with that stuff. And so I felt a lot of different pressures in a bunch of different directions, and things that I thought were genuine sentiment that I didn't learn until later was a lot of programmed shit. But also because the public doesn't understand it, the programming works. So it's like we value things based on quantitative value. So like if we see a lot of people hating on something, then we start to carry that narrative. So I'll see people, because I be watching reaction videos and stuff. So I'll watch somebody say at the beginning of their video where they're about to like talk about my project and how much they love my Starline specifically, preface it by being like, oh yeah, Big Day, that was the album that everybody hated. Everyone hated this. But then they'll say, I'm be honest, I didn't hate it. I didn't really dislike it like that. But it's like,
but
it's people want to stay in, like
they want to be in the graces of everybody.
They want to feel like what everybody agrees with to a certain extent they agree with. You know what I'm saying? Or that they're at least recognizing fact. But the fact that I learned later was like, there's so many people that love this project. Like specifically The Big Day. There are people that I see like in comments, like basically now the star line's out, like there's commentary under all the posts, and some of them are still getting that, oh, the big day, whatever, like, you know, like boilerplate comment that they put about the big day in this conversation about Starline. But then I see people reacting to it like, you're tripping, the big day was amazing, we still play this now, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I think that what's important now for me is to like make sure I venerate all the people that do feel like that, because if they're not like spoken to, then they have to feel forced to not like something or not show their appreciation for something.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, this is music. Like, that's the whole point, is there's an individual experience as well as a group experience.
That's what I was going to say, is that I don't have a problem. I was going to say really quick, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I was going to say I don't have a problem with like I love watching music reactions too. And a few people that I like love have had reactions before that I disagree with. Like I remember when Mr. Morale came out. I feel like a very similar sentiment was brought out because like people spent 5 years expecting one thing, and then they got like the therapy album. Yeah, after Jaam and everything. So with Kendrick, so they got the therapy album, and people were like hating. And something, as someone who grew up online, I didn't even know how crazy the bots were until we had Hassan on. And Hassan was talking about like, who's a popular streamer, like every time he'll do anything, there will be random bot comments just saying lies about the nigga because there's so many people that dislike it. And I'm like, that's why you kind of have to take a step back and look at the music like in and of itself, because I don't have a problem if like something is not your style, but when you're analyzing the music, it kind of gets you out of the hate train thing. Because I'm pretty sure every project you're gonna listen to, you can at least find something that you like, but that's not what the prominent narrative.
I think also for reactors, they're real people, but they also are doing a show.
Trying to get it clear. So they trying to.
It's like, when I'm creating music, there's no point where I'm creating it with the idea that somebody's gonna have to listen to it in real time and speak to their constituents or their customers or their viewers and like have a quick reaction to it. Like I'm writing so that hopefully in 5 years you're still being like, oh, that's what you were saying? Or I just realized that I really love this song. I always thought this was my favorite song, but this is actually my favorite song. Like creating with a depth that takes time is like almost always how I'm creating. So like, I think those people they have almost an unfair job because they have to take off their music lover's hat and put on their music reviewer's hat to be content for somebody to take.
Around the time you weren't dropping and just having so many narratives put on you, how did that affect like your process?
Yeah, like in between.
It made me step back, to be honest. I had a lot of stuff going on. So, you know, like my ex-manager tried to sue me for a contract breach, even though I never signed a contract with him.
That's insane.
And I had, you know what I'm saying, I just got married. I just had my second child. There was 50 things that was going on outside of like whatever this internet reaction was. So the first thing that I did was I like pulled in and like was like, I'm going to be, you know, to myself and not give anybody any music. Because I had a great conversation with Dave Chappelle, which I really took to heart. I went and visited him in Ohio, did a show together, and he's been my mentor since I was 21, 22. But very, very like, you know, I don't know how much y'all know Dave Chappelle's story, but he was pushed out by the industry, and he
took a long break.
They claimed that he smoked crack.
They was trying to fuck up his.
He's doing all types of shit, cheating on his wife, all types of shit.
They tried to assassinate his character because he left the show that he was on, and when he went to Africa, they even like otherized him going to Africa as being some like crazy shit.
Really?
And this is a deep thing. I'm 32, so like Dave Chappelle and Chappelle Show, incredibly influential on a 7th grade chancellor. You know what I mean?
They fucked up his money when it came to that. They didn't want to pay him.
Well, that was a real reason why he left the show, was because his contract stated that he was, you know, due a certain amount off of the sales that they made, and it ended up being the highest selling DVD of all time, and ended up doing all these numbers, and they didn't want to give him, I think it was, I don't want to speak on his money, you know,
we don't,
you know what I'm saying,
but
they like publicly like tried to kill this nigga, like his name, and when he came back later and did Netflix, like he became like the highest paid comedian all over again. But he took this time of like going straight to the skill of it and to the people, and he played, small clubs. They wouldn't let him play big venues. Like this is Dave Chappelle, by the way. Like this is
Yeah,
Dave
yeah,
Chappelle.
yeah.
You know what I'm
He
saying?
sells
Could
out
sell out a
everything.
stadium if he wants to, but sells out
doing his
arenas
ass bogus.
easily. But he had a very tough time for about, I don't even know how long it was, but this was like, if you grew up watching Dave Chappelle and you watched him go through that and come back around, like it's one of the greatest stories in history. And that's why I think he's the greatest comedian of all time, is because he never like,
He never like bowed down.
He
to
never
it.
bowed.
like he's just like he it's just such a strong story. But I'm sorry, I'm getting off task. Dave told me this thing when I came to visit him, because I was dealing with all that stuff at once, and he was like, and I was telling him I don't know what to do and blah 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 blah. He told me a couple of really cool stories. He talked to me about living within my means and you know what I'm saying, sticking with the people close to me. But the thing though, like metaphor, which I always fuck up, but I'm gonna try and get it right now. He says when you're really great at something, it's like you're a kid at the basketball court that brought the basketball, and you know what I'm saying, you're hooping and everybody keeps trying to tell you these new rules, you know what I'm saying, and how you can play. And at a certain point, you have to just decide to take your ball and go home.
Yeah.
And there might be some other people
Yeah.
that they find that have a ball, but it's not going to be the same one that you hoop with.
Right.
And more importantly, you are you. Like you're the player. So they need you. And eventually, when they're ready, they'll come to you and ask you to play again, and they're gonna have to play by your rules.
Yeah.
That's
And
so
That's a
real.
fact.
You had said something
that's real.
earlier
That's
about
so
how, like,
real.
Yeah, that's real.
it is like how your dad was kind of like instilling you to like clean it, basically just not half-ass things. And then you talked about how that inspired a lot of things from your most recent album you just put out. Did like you taking that break really like hone into like a lot of things that you kind of learned that you might have forgot?
I think that like one of the things that are like the most different about this project is it is about the skill of writing, but that was something that I would say I hadn't used since I was making 10 Day. That was like the last time that I was like still consistently writing, consistently doing prompts, just like actually being pen and paper. Like the last time I was really doing that was 10 Day. What I think like with this project, I was really focused on telling a story in a vibrant, detailed, descriptive way. And I learned that from being around a lot of artists, like painters. So when I went to Ghana, I was saying earlier, I started like rocking with this dude, Amwako, with this woman, Nilo Pianga, met Otis Quaco, met like some of the most important artists in the global market at the time, all happened to be in Ghana, a lot of them from Ghana. But I started going to art fairs, started like visiting museums and just learning history through this artistic vision first, or artistic viewpoint first, and started learning about specifically this dude named Ernie Barnes. And have y'all ever seen this painting called The Sugar Shack? It's like,
I've not seen the painting.
it's,
Wait, yeah.
you have seen.
You have?
Yeah, I've definitely
All of you guys
seen
have
it. No,
seen
we've
it.
definitely
We've
seen
probably
it.
all seen it.
yeah.
Let me use Google real
I'm
quick.
already knowing I
Can we
seen
put it up on the screen, like when we do the?
It's possible.
Oh,
When
yeah.
the edit comes out, you gotta
Yeah,
show
that's
them
what
what we're talking about.
This shit right here.
Oh yeah, you gonna show it?
This shit.
Yes, that's what that's called. I didn't know that was called a Sugar
yeah.
Shack.
Yeah, Sugar Shack. I remember learning about this in school.
So Ernie Barnes, what he did, what made him our great painter, to me, he's our great. He came up at a very specific time in the 60s when there was this new revolution of thought or consciousness around how we were going to be labeled. And it was when we started to accept and promote the idea of being called black. Because black for a long time was a slur. And like, what you mean black? You know what I'm saying? That I used that sample at the beginning of Negro Problem where Richard Pryor's talking about, what you mean black?
Yeah.
And so, you know, we've been Negroes and colored and we have these different moments where we have a self-determining moment of like recognizing that we're stepping to a next thing, right? We also did that with African American and Afro American,
Yeah.
Black American FBA, all these different titles, you know what I'm saying? But the Black Power movement was probably the most significant thing that we've done this century, from the music level, from a theology level, from a organizing level, like in all spaces. When we was like, we black, like a lot of change started happening. You get the Black Panthers, you get, you know what I'm saying, Black liberation theology, you get James Brown, Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud.
Yep.
And you get like afros, you get like organizing, you get a lot of things. And when I lost my train of thought, what were we talking about? I'd be going on tangents. I was just saying something about
the painting and like how it helped.
Painting, like how it inspired you.
So in the arts world, Ernie Barnes realized at this like crucial moment that we didn't have a lot in the art space that showed our contemporary living, like what our culture was. And so he made stuff like the Sugar Shack and a bunch of other like paintings that show, you know, Black life in this impressionist style that was like, we're always in movement. We're always like, whatever it was like, it was dramatic, but it was like beautiful, but it was like cultured. And it was like, if you know, you know. And he used to be an NFL player. So he had all these connections in the celebrity world and used it to go do like these public shows. And now everybody's grandma got that picture in their house. That's the Marvin Gaye painting, but they have other Ernie Barnes prints that like hold this part of culture and show it so vibrantly. And I wanted to do that musically. So No More Old Men is actually inspired by one of Ernie Barnes' paintings too.
Oh, wow.
Where it's like, how do I give you all these moments of the barbershop and like positive black male patriarchy in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Losing our shit.
I want to give you all these moments and document them forever in a way that like can be celebrated, that can be recognized by the people that it applies to, and be beautiful and super descriptive the whole time.
Look, I'm about to say,
in fact, the moment we listened to that song and you brought up the barbershop, it immediately like brought me back.
It puts you there. Like
I want people to see it.
The first couple of bars, we're gonna talk about the song too, because I have it written here. That's my favorite song on the album. The first couple, I'm telling you,
bro.
I got it. Not nominated. Sorry, I submitted it for Song of the Year.
It should be. I'm more because that song, I feel like I've judged like a really good album in recent times by like, I don't need the entire album to be like flawless, because that assumes that you're gonna fuck with everything someone tries. But there's always, the measure of a good album for me right now there's always been at least a good 2 or 3 songs that do not leave the rotation. Like, it's not even just like I'll go back to it. Like, I'm listening to it for days on end. And No More Men is one of those songs, and the painting makes so much sense, like that vibrance, that beauty, that motion, or whatever, because I feel like it is kind of like the musical experience when you listen to it. I want to dive into it first because we each pretty much chose like a song that we'll talk about, and then also we wanted to get in. Do you want to talk about the Met Gala right now?
I mean, we can save for after.
Okay. Because I want to run through some of this content.
Before we even get into that, he's not lying about that song. I live right next to the nigga. I hear it over and over. I think I'm remembering the lyrics through his room.
Jamila Woods did shit on that too. Like that was an amazing like song. But I want to begin first with the intro song.
Star Side intro, nigga.
Getting to meet the potatoes.
Oh my fucking god. The meat the potatoes. Like, bro, one line that resonated with me the most in that bitch was like, nigga went to school with the dumb niggas.
Put me in class with dumb niggas.
Nigga came to class with an umbrella. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like, I was probably that umbrella nigga's right hand man. Like, real shit. I remember days where I would go to class and I would just sit there with my head down, not learning, just bullshitting. And then you just got this one white lady. Whenever she came in the room, you already know she's grabbing somebody else. She grabbed me out, and she always put me in like this small ass room with like 4 or 5 people. And you had to read in there the entire time.
Yeah, that's BD. I was in BD too.
Yeah, bro. And it's like, it made me like, when they took you out of classes and put you in those different classes, did you like feel embarrassed because of that? Yeah.
Isolation, I used to always say this, that was like my least favorite. So up until 6th grade, the tactic they used to always use with me was they would pull my desk either all the way separate on an aisle.
Oh my god.
That was me. They would put your class like that. That was me.
They put your desk outside and everyone walking past you looking at you like,
God.
I was like, bro,
or I think
that's some like slavery.
That's
No,
shame.
that's like make you an
Shame.
example. And
I ain't gonna lie. Have y'all ever seen a white kid do that? You ain't
No.
I ain't seen a white kid.
I ain't never seen Jerry in the
That
hallway.
realization right now.
Yes.
Me and Reese went to grammar school together. I can merge that shit happened to me 10 times. I never seen no white kid.
Never.
I ain't never seen all my years in school.
Leslie Yang not white, folks.
Leslie.
And then the worst part when a white boy like walk past you and they just look at you
smirk
and
or
you
some
just
shit.
feel something
No,
like
It's like
You want to know what was the craziest concept that you just helped me realize is the fact that like a lot of the white kids, especially the white boys that will go to school, because those were a lot of the baseball kids, they would be racist as fuck, and they'd be saying like shit, like jokes about black people, like just open, like the teacher will be deaf, like she don't hear what the hell they
Not
just
a
said.
goddamn word
Nothing.
said.
The only person I'm
But
seeing sitting out in the hallway is one of us.
Nigga,
like,
it's Matt,
Jalen,
nigga.
It's Matt or Jalen.
Bro, I was gonna say, bro, I remember, bro, like I lived outside that classroom. Freshman year, bro. I'm getting kicked out every day. I'm doing the same shit with the test, coming in, knocking out all that shit. And talking about the isolation, I wanted to touch on it really quickly, especially once we started talking about Star Side Intro, because we talked about it earlier. Like when they, like those labels, right? And I think one thing that I got labeled at was the class clown shit, which
that was me.
motherfuckers love that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like class clown, and it almost makes you feel like you belong because your class needed that.
You're
know what I'm
supposed
saying?
to be
That
getting in
one
trouble.
clown. The only problem is, one, not only did that change my entire perspective, because I'm like, okay, bro, I'm only in school to make
be
niggas
funny.
laugh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not.
It's that coping.
Yeah,
because, like,
you start
in that
coping with that
Because like
shit, yeah.
before, like you said, you labeled as like this stupid kid. But at
Yeah.
the same time, you kind of coping because you want to belong.
And that's the only way you could get out of that as well.
But nobody ever like tells the class clown like, "Hey, thanks for having a fucking personality."
Yeah.
and, like
Yeah.
going against the grain
True.
and being like your own person as a child.
I'm about to
Like,
say-
And even as a teacher, hearing that from like being a student, if a teacher would have said that shit to me, I don't know where that shit would have took me. Real shit.
I feel
All
like
my
that's
teachers
the
just
type of
kicked me
shit
out
that
the
could,
fucking
that's the
class.
type of shit that could like it could
Yeah.
restore your like faith in not only yourself but maybe the shit that you learning, because
Yeah.
like it's objectively the case that them people that we went to school with made class better.
Yeah.
Like
They
I was there for lunch.
100%.
Bro, I remember me and Matt we had this thing called Saturday school. You just have to go Saturday in like the morning for
Saturday
like
school.
4 hours.
He said that
Me
shit
and-
like it was nigga detention. Nigga. He's in that bitch every
Boy, they
Saturday.
gave me a
That shit
Saturday
was
for no
Cook County
reason.
Jail. That shit was awful, bro.
Me and this nigga Alan used to
We
pull up
used to live there.
NRPJs,
I was
nigga.
gonna
We
say,
used to
I
lay
ain't
there.
never missed a Saturday.
No.
I ain't never missed a Saturday.
They gave me a Saturday. One time I had it, because like I said, I was trying to be a goody two shoes, but these niggas was bullshitting me. The one time I had a Saturday, I will never, it was because I didn't turn in a paper on time. So I got there and I wasn't even a bad kid. So like the science teacher had me helping cleaning the instruments and stuff because there was nothing for me to do.
Slave labor.
And I'm like, y'all got me. I just woke up at 9 o'clock in the morning. Y'all done put the black kid to work.
Yeah, that's slave labor.
Crazy. Me and this nigga Alan wasn't even fighting in Saturday school, bro. We couldn't get to school, bro. Like my parents, we only had one car. I
Yeah.
had two siblings, one in high school, one in college. My mama working in the city. Like, bro, I'm sorry, my nigga. I was gonna be late,
I
bro.
could say as much excuses. Nigga, I live down the street. I just didn't give a fuck.
we live down the street, but but it's still, I'm saying like, cause yeah, I wasn't far from the school, but it's still like from a parent perspective, bro. They not worried about waking me up in the morning to get there. They worried about getting out so they can
So
pay
it's
the
on
fucking mortgage.
you. It's
and
on
shit.
you to want to go there.
Yeah,
If you
and-
don't want to.
You know what's crazy? I went to school downtown. So I used to wake up in the morning, walk to the train, take the train from 79th to Harrison, and then not go in the building.
That's real.
and just walk around downtown.
That's real.
Honestly.
Feeling like you get up to the door, you're like,
Hell no.
Nah,
nigga.
bro.
And I
Yeah.
remember the moment that I hit that, which is why it was so relatable to me, like hearing you talk about it. The moment I hit that like official burnout point, I feel like I just hit mine later. I hit mine my sophomore year of college, because I remember by the time we had got done with that year, and then we had started like doing our shit during the summer, and then this was during 2024, so I started like getting to travel for the first time, doing like social media stuff, political stuff. So that entire summer, like I remember I had to leave and be in DC the day like our last final was due for one of my classes. I was like, nigga, I'm
Not getting
You
done.
gotta-
it's
you
not
gotta
getting
pay me.
done. And I'm like, it sucks because I do care about the material, but like it's those stigmas that get placed, I feel like when you're early on in your school journey, that kind of help more than your own, like, oh, I just don't want to do this shit, I want to be lazy. It kind of helps push you. one
Yeah, I feel
direction.
like I was built by mentors. Like I feel like there's Like I talk about it in the song when I say after I say the thing about the umbrella, I say ditch school, day walker, I'm a sun dweller. Like I used to walk around downtown like while everybody else was in school and just go into random buildings and shit and like you know what I'm saying, get courtesy cups of
Exploring the
juice.
city. Fuck
I'm
it.
gonna give you the bean. No, that's how you. I feel like, and I mean, maybe niggas think I'm tripping. That's how you open your mind to the reality of this shit. I remember me and this nigga Allen right before. This was when JJ was still in school. I'm still working at Amazon. Allen was just chilling at the crib. I remember me and this nigga, I'm taking my last like $50, put it in that not that Chrysler, put it in that Cherokee, nigga. We going to the city, just walk around. We can't buy shit. We can't
Go get you a courtesy cup.
On God, but what it did was it opened up that perspective for us to know, like, oh shit, like
The world is huge.
the world is huge.
And it would
so much
always like he would
possibility,
always
man.
help me like shoot for my brand, and it would help with the inspiration and the art behind it. It didn't matter if it was cold or nothing because like
matter, bro.
you
Sleep
just
slow, nigga,
wanted
you
to
got
get out your situation
Got
like
to.
by any means.
No fact.
And you don't want to be controlled by nobody, bro.
100%. I just wanted to be me.
Yeah.
And I knew when I was young who I was and what it was that I wanted to make. And so meeting Mike, I actually met Simeon first. There was another mentor that I had there named Simeon, told me and my homie Justin when we were walking down the street, come in the library and check out this space they were building. They had recording studio and instruments and all this stuff. And so we started going there. But Brother Mike was the one who was like super hands-on, teaching us like about performance and about loving the craft and writing and everything like that. But I think throughout school, even before I met Mike, like a lot of different tutors or like a random teacher in the school that would mentor me or pour into me was the reason why I was able to like have any confidence of self. Cause like I said, like I always wrote poems and raps and rhymes and shit like that. But then I would be, like you said, like talked to like I wasn't smart at school and shit. So I feel like if I didn't have that outlet of like going hard with music and going into poetry and stuff, like I would have not recognized my genius that I had.
Yeah.
I think there's like in ancient times, like all the great philosophers, like they taught one-on-one. Like it was like a
Like they were
mentorship.
directly like Aristotle
I'm
was
pouring
teaching
into
under
you.
you.
Yeah.
Like
And that's why I low key believe in homeschooling because of that. Like my kids are obviously not homeschooled, but I'm just saying like I understand the concept so much better because having one or two teachers with 40 kids and shit like that, like
you can only do so
a
much.
child is getting
so
left
much.
behind for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
You know what
No
I'm saying?
child left
That was me. That was every nigga on this
Many
couch.
children left behind.
This bitch just bullied.
And I was gonna say it's important because like that faith that you get from having someone directly pour into you, like you said, it kind of allows you to unlock more of that creative genius, and it allows you to kind of have those more experimental things that like I didn't know had in the bag. Like I remember going back into another song, Burn Your Block, was the one that caught me off guard because I was like,
bro.
shit, I ain't even know he had it in the bag. But I
I
remember
love
it
that
caught me,
song.
and then you looked up some shit about
Yeah.
it, and I
So,
was like, oh, we'll talk about
Burn
the
Your
historical
Block,
messaging.
the first words of that verse said Red Summer. So I'm like, okay,
Thank you.
I gotta
Shout out to him, yo.
Looking
Shout
at
out to
that
your boy.
shit.
I didn't
I'm like-
catch that. He
I'm
told
like,
me about it
okay,
this morning.
I gotta deep this shit, nigga. That whole song has a different meaning to me now, bro.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
for Red Summer, right? I guess it was right after
it's
World War
1919?
One. Yeah, 1919. After World War One, is a whole bunch of black people that fought in the war. They had to come back, get jobs or whatever. Some of the white people that were coming out of the war as well, they were kind of mad because they weren't gonna get the jobs either.
Yeah,
So they was
that's-
like,
that's
"Fuck, these niggas taking all the jobs."
Sounds like
Sounds like the same.
sounds like the same shit we saying now. And
with some distance on it, nigga. So,
Hey,
You so locked in. Hey, shout out to the Jaam podcast. If you haven't yet, subscribe right now. Take a second. Just take a second. Like, leave 2 more comments.
yeah,
You feel me?
you heard
Share.
him. You gotta leave them.
Subscribe.
you gotta leave three more for chance, man.
I was gonna say yes, sir.
Dialed in.
Continue.
Let's go.
Because
So they came back, right? The niggas taking the jobs by their means, whatever. So they taking the jobs or whatever. All the niggas, all the white people getting mad about it. And it got to a point where there was like 25 like race riots. There was lynching niggas, beating niggas, killing niggas. And there was one point, right? I believe, the statistics
Yeah, there you go.
were saying that like 145% of black people went to Chicago, and then there was some people going to Philadelphia as well. And there was one point where some dude named Eugene, he was in the I guess he was swimming in the
beach.
Oh yeah,
on the
rock
beach.
shit.
He was swimming in the beach on his like makeshift raft or whatever. He drifted off into the white area, and they started pelting the nigga with stones and killed him.
Yep.
Killed the nigga.
Killed him.
Yes.
Killed him.
So what
Started a
happened was
whole-
all the black people pulled up to there. It was like 1,000 people there just waiting. He's like, yo, you gotta arrest this nigga. Guess what CPD did? Not a goddamn
Not
thing.
a goddamn thing.
Not a goddamn thing. So that just kicked off everything. And then
It gets deeper. They actually sent gangs because at this time, so you got to read this book called Fire on the Prairie.
Okay.
And it's
I think I heard of that shit.
Well, I think I know it from my shout out my what was it? Shout out my junior year. Nah, she was my African American. My junior year African American history teacher though. She taught us about the shit, and they had like it. Well, you can explain it, but they
the book is mostly about like I guess like the through line is it's telling the story of how Harold Washington became mayor and
first black mayor.
what had to happen for him to become the mayor, and then what were the effects, like how effective he was as a mayor, which was extremely effective, but then also like the aftermath and stuff. But even before it gets to Harold Washington, it tells us the history of the mayors in Chicago. So when I was a kid, there was a mayor called Richard M. Daley.
Yeah, Richard M. Daley.
But before him, his father Richard H. Daley was one of the like. I want to say one of the first mayors of Chicago. That doesn't sound right, but Chicago's everything's
He was
young.
one of the biggest ones. Yeah, it's like a whole political dynasty.
Yeah.
that
So
they lived in.
his upbringing, he was in a gang. Like a lot of young whites at that time were in gangs. Damn, I've never even got to say whites before.
I'm about to say they saying
You're free to say anything. nigga.
whites,
On it.
yes, sir.
No, but they be saying blacks. I hate the term black.
I hate that.
That's why I'm
That's
saying.
his thing.
I'm comfortable with saying
Blacks, that shit's
Black
thing.
sound like straight out of like
Yeah.
1927. Like
nobody
bro.
says that
No one
shit.
says that
But
unless
the,
you
but,
know.
the, but the whites that say blacks, they be saying whites too. So I'm gonna just say whites. But the young ones, it's not a slur.
Ignorant.
The young whites in the 20s, they were in a lot of different gangs, and they were organized by neighborhood, but mainly by what do you call it? Not nationality, but like there were Irish gangs, Italian gangs, Jewish gangs, and so at that time, a bunch of the gangs after the stoning happened, they organized, mainly Richard H. Daley organized for them to go into the black neighborhoods and pull people out of their homes and
They were shooting businesses,
setting
and
shit on fire. But the thing is, we always talk about the Tulsa massacre.
Yeah,
but there were tons and tons of what they call race riots, but what they really were was like
Massacre.
It's called massacres, and there's a term that I learned. Oh, mob violence.
Yeah.
So there are a ton of mob violence, racially basically they was killing niggas and like hordes and attacking a bunch of people during this summer called Red Summer. But it was also a lot of like pushback from blacks.
From the blacks. So we're here, nigga.
Yup.
Oh, bro.
And then So
well, I
now,
didn't know the song was about that.
I'm about to say,
so now when you hear "burn your block," it's something different.
has a completely different connotation.
So I'm gonna tell y'all something that I haven't gotten to really break down yet, and that's why I wanted to come up here. So the backdrop of this whole album is against this movie called Watt Stax.
Mm-hmm.
So Stax Records is this record company back in the 60s and 70s, super popular record company that had a black president. And after the Watts riots, when
Rodney King,
this is before Rodney King. So Rodney King is in the 90s. This is in the, I think, late 60s.
Oh yeah,
there was Watts riots because this man and I think his wife, who was pregnant, were like severely beaten by the police in like a mistaken identity thing or something. And so Watts burned for like 2 weeks, and the surrounding areas too, like close to Los Angeles. But that happens all the time, right? Black folks, they get pushed and beaten and oppressed in the silence, and then the reaction is this burning. And that always results in some sort of like, even if it's not effective, sweeping policy and legislative changes that don't really happen without it. If you think about the King riots, they always make it seem like we got the Civil Rights Act because King died, but no, we got it because for 6 weeks after that, all the metropolitan cities were on fire. So there's always this legislative change, but also we end up being the people that have to live in the fallout. Like we have to live, or like the West Side is still fucked up from the King riots. So like,
we're just living with the trauma in general.
It's the way that you deal with it. Like you could have the sweeping legislation that actually like addresses the reason why the riots happened in the first place, or you could, like what they did with the Black Panthers, you could get strict gun control now because they got guns, or you could still not invest in the community, but let's make sure we got like National Guard, and then when they leave, then we just go back to like nothing happened.
That's the biggest thing. So like having the resources to even deal.
Yeah, so you constantly like push the similar problem, and then it comes out in that.
Yeah, there's no real answer that I have, or like proven way to get the policy change that we need, because we've done it non-violently and we get beat up, and we've done it violently and we get killed. But the fact of the matter is that's what happens when a Black person gets killed on camera, or, you know what I'm saying, there's some sort of long-standing inequity and it raises to violence. Eventually Black folks go and burn their block. And that's like what happened in the Watts riots in the 60s. And years later, Stax Records, through a concert that was documented and also hosted in like kind of a unorthodox way by Richard Pryor, but all the biggest acts of the 70s, whether they were gospel or secular, came into this space, this huge coliseum in LA, and did a concert to lift the spirits and to get people to pour back into the communities. And to me, it's one of the greatest documentaries ever. But you get a lot of great, like these little moments in between where Richard Pryor does like little comedic bits in this bar where he's just pontificating on Black life, and not through the lens of being Black, but just his actual experience. But they all are like a little bit political. And so I pulled from that, all those samples that you hear on Burn Your Block. There's the sample at the beginning where it's like, I thought you niggas was happy. Like it's like that whole thing. That's a
I love that like narration device throughout the album.
So they interviewed all these different Army vets and like people living in the neighborhood throughout the documentary. And so that's at the beginning of Burn Your Block. At the beginning of Negro Problem and the end, there's another sample from Richard Pryor where he talks about how they were, self-determination, and how he identifies, and how he's like, you ever go up to a kid and say, well, "What's up, Black boy?" And he say, "Hey, who you calling Black?" That's like that. And then at the end, he does the bit about how these Black dudes would come into the neighborhood when he was growing up, and they were, had this, strong, like, what is it called? Like Afrocentric way of talking and dressing and like pride of self and stuff.
You niggas crazy. I remember.
So he's like that nigga's crazy for thinking that. For thinking that was beautiful. And
that we came from like different. That we came from something that's more positive as opposed.
That's so crazy. Really understanding the meaning, because I remember when I heard it and I'm hearing Burn Your Block. I remember I'm fried. Just now I'm like really like deep in it.
You gotta be, because these topics, like I've been saying a lot lately. Like these are like 12th and 13th listen conversations.
I think the first conversation. I'm probably at like 40 right now.
It stems from the reaction shit. Like people don't give it enough time. Like,
they really don't.
Let it marinate.
Digest everything.
I seen a whole bunch of different like white analysts of hip hop.
Heavy C.
They would like rate the most. They would rate the most like intro perspective songs of your album like lower. I'm like, bro, you don't even understand this shit. You don't get it, bitch.
Like, I'm sorry.
The thing that frustrates me about it is not necessarily because I don't think that it's something that should be applied to like a specific artist. Like it's not because Chance is like an artist that you. I think it's the messaging and shit that you're not actually listening to.
You're not hearing.
Because it takes away from the experience as well. What? Do you want to move into Speed of Love?
Yeah, we can talk about Speed of Love. Speed of Love recently has become like my top song. I'm like, first of all, that's one of the craziest outro songs I've ever heard in my life. Period.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, actually, genuinely.
But also just like Well, one, like I said, I grew up in the church, so any music with like singing, Jasmine Sullivan, that's gonna hit. You know what I'm saying? The question I had about it though, let me pull up the question I had about it because I was going through there's a lot of different routes in that song that you could take it with just love in general, love from the fans, love from the people around you, love from the people that you've extended yourself to. The question I had with it, let me put them up. Question I had with it was this part of it where you was like, messages of people saying, I wish when you was not sober, right at the start of that. We talked about that a few months ago. And we talked about how artists are expected, even through just being a human, you're obviously exposed to hella shit you go through with your fucking family, with music, with everything. But even still, regardless of all of that shit, if you drop a bad song, you get them comments, you gonna get them retweets or whatever the fuck it is, where it's like, man, this nigga, he need to cheat on his girl again. Or he need to, They say that about Bryson. They said that about Bryson Tiller. They said that about The Weeknd. They said that about fucking Brent. Yeah. So in this case, right, in your case, like when people said that, talk to me about speed of love and like one, not receiving the love from people you thought you extended yourself to and gave that love to, but also just how do you deal with like those comments or that kind of like paradox of like shit, like that was when I was at my lowest.
You gotta keep being at your lowest to give me.
So with the online commentary, it's like it's in all these different parts. Like one, like I was saying earlier about like understanding bots and programming. So understanding that like Twitter is for engagement. Like if I tweet at you, I'm not just trying to talk to you. I'm trying to talk to my whole TL and tell them that I'm talking to you.
So they can retweet it and tell
so I can get some engagement. You know what I'm saying? And so if somebody sees a tweet that's botted and the likes and retweets are on it are botted and they see that gets engagement, then they're programmed to believe like, oh, that's exactly how I should talk because that's how everybody talks. That's how you get engagement. And so I didn't understand that like the psychology behind why I was getting so much, you need to take acid tweets or comments on things like a second after I posted it. And then I realized and learned more about engagement, about positive sentiment and negative sentiment. And that kind of took some of the edge off of it. But I still think there are real people that don't understand the weight of being, of engaging with an artist. So like as artists, I believe there's a great importance to artists. I don't think that they're necessarily more important than an electrician or a carpenter or a healthcare worker or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that everybody has their heavenly gifts but I think that being an artist is incredibly important because we're the documenters of today and we'll need this documentation later. And I feel like when you're engaging with an artist, if you're tweeting at them, if you're talking to them, if you run into them in the street, whatever, like the things that you say, they have a greater impact on that artist than you think they would. Even if you think, oh, he's gonna meet 100 other people or he's about to go to his mansion or whatever you think, like it's like, no, you're the person that came and talked to me. So now we're having this exchange. So even if it's on the internet, it has weight to it. And I say all that to say, like, one of the biggest things that like propelled my career was going on tour with Mac Miller. Like when I was much younger, like it was the second tour I ever went on.
I just really got heavy into Mac.
I've always loved Mac.
This nigga crazy, man.
Mac is one of a lot of things, but one of the greatest.
Yeah, for sure.
And not just in music and how he dealt with people. And when he died, it hurt me a lot. Like it hurt a lot of people a lot, but it hurt me a lot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the way that he died, it hurt me a lot.
Yeah.
And
Thanks,
for me to understand that a lot of my fans came to me through Mac Miller, I always felt like there was some crazy disconnect that people would be having all these crazy tweets about drugs towards me if they also love Mac.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Do you think it influenced you in any way?
That Mac influenced me?
No, the fans coming in and associating the drugs.
I think it just made me feel like they didn't value my art or more importantly, my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think like if
as a human,
if you think that it's more important for my life to be fucked up than like
you so I can listen to
that you could be entertained, and it's like fuck you. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we all just people, so I could always say fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like just like they could say fuck me. You don't have to listen to my music. You definitely don't have to tell me how to cook my stew. You know what I'm saying? Like
real shit.
So I think like what was important with that verse, because the whole song is based off of a poem by Erykah Badu called Friends, Fans, and Artists Must Meet.
Yeah.
And on each verse of these poems, she describes a different person and their relationship to the artist. So the first one, she talks from the perspective of a fan.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know, showing this adoration and love and just hopes to meet this person and hopes that they don't forget about them when they get big, blah, blah, blah. Second verse is from the perspective of a friend who's saying like they want to, you know, they wish that their friend who's famous wasn't so big-headed and would, you know what I'm saying, is always canceling on the trips and blah, 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 blah. And then the final verse is from herself as an artist. And it's one of the greatest poems ever written to me. But I took that and wanted to analyze all these different relationships that I have. So the first one is me as an artist and the relationship that I have to fans in terms of how, you know, transactional or, you know,
the comments and all that shit.
Beyond even the comments. So I went on tour for the first time at 19 and the next time at 20. And when I went with Mac, that was the first time I went on tour with people my age. So we were really like, you know, new to it, but also like in control of our destiny in a different way. And I think like we were all supporting our families, you know, building on a dream, traveling city to city, meeting girls, getting into fights, doing all the things that like a young nigga would do, but with no control, a little bit of money, and going state to state. And so we had to grow up really fast. And so I'm really trying to, I think, shine a light on like, you know what I'm saying, how these things impacted me as a human, but also as a human that's still growing. You know what I'm saying? Doing all these meet and greets, going city to city, you know, dealing with people that don't understand where my talent comes from. You know what I'm saying? If you think my talent came from me doing acid, then go do acid and make acid. I promise you that's not how it works. You know what I'm saying?
Jesus, don't work like that.
But one of my favorite bars on the song right after I say the acid thing, I say, love was the fuel and the pen was the tool. It's been that way since the lunch tables at school. We made beats with our hands, made peace with our plans.
Bro, I'm listening.
You know what I'm saying?
And the thing, the reason why
home and I'm like,
the reason why it hit me so differently was not only just like the literal relating of that lunchroom experience, but also just kind of like the feeling of growing up and having to grow up quickly while you're doing shit in the public eye, because we're all young doing this shit too. So it's like, it's kind of weird how like mentorship works, because now we get to like sit and ask you about like being a young person in that scenario, having all that kind of at your disposal in the middle of us going through like a very similar thing. It's kind of like, it's I get a lot of anxiety about it because you hear the story about people who are like famous young and they get fucked up and all type of shit. So
we are so fucked up about that. Like my whole mental is fucked up about that shit. Like,
even with like going on tour that young, especially with Mac Miller, and like having the traumas you had from just even being in Chicago and the things you had to deal with, like how did you later in life kind of like balance your mental and kind of get it straight, because you had to grow up really fast?
I think I just always been old young. Like I had my kid the next year, you know what I'm saying? So like I in all of the experiences that I was having, I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like having to take those on young and just still keeping that idea of like, I got to move the couch. Like I got to be as good as I possibly can just so that I can be in these spaces. Before I even went on tour with Mac Miller, like all those, like I remember doing shit like the Sub T, Subterranean, and everybody on the show was like, you know, in their late 20s and or early 30s. And I'm still in high school and got the X's on my hands so I can't buy alcohol and shit. And I got to get out of the room by 10:30. But like I'm going on stage and rapping like I'm rapping in front of 20,000 people, even though there might be only 18 people in the room, because I really believed in it. That's the bar
that
to me in the song is
you there too.
We made peace with our plans. Like at a young age, we knew it's either going to work or it's not going to work. But at, you know, 16, 15, 14, 13, we deciding like, oh, I'm gonna be a famous rapper even if it takes me till I'm 30, 40, 50 years old. Like,
bro,
do this.
We have this saying and we call it as written. And like he dropped out of college. He didn't go to college.
I dropped out.
Oh yeah, he did.
Dropped out of high school, and we all were like, as written. We gonna make this shit work.
Make this shit work.
Not only what that was part of the reason why I said this song, because I'm like, bro, it's a lot of songs on this album that I like. But listening to Speed of Love yesterday when I was walking put so many things in perspective, even in our own situation. I'm like, damn, like, it's you really cut from the same cloth. And I'm like, what you just brought up, right? Us not going to school and all of the things that come with that, and even just like believing in yourself. I'll never forget
by like parents and shit. Yep.
Bro, I never forget the conversation that I had with these niggas. AB was there, but you was just upstairs. But I remember
I was chilling.
Yeah, bro.
Pick me up and shit.
but I never forget the conversation I had with these niggas, bro. And I'm like, we was all 20, Alan had just turned 20. Yeah. JJ was 20, I was 20. And I'm screaming at these niggas in this nigga crib because I'm like, bro, we got to do this shit. I'm like, it don't matter what we got to do. Whether you got to leave school, nigga, I'll quit my job. We got to, bro, let's move. Let's just burn the boats, do this shit. Because genuinely, like, making peace with your plans, like, I knew since I was 9 years old that I wanted to do the YouTube shit, that I wanted to be an influencer, that we all that like that. When we was 10, 11, 12, we was talking about getting complexes and living together, all types of shit that we doing right now. So... I was at peace, bro. I had already made, bro, if I fuck my life up, and I said this word for word, I was like, if I fuck my life up, then I fucked my life up, bro.
I remember the conversation we had. We were just in his living room, and it had to go on for like an hour. He was just like yelling. And he was like, Alan, if we don't lock in, we will be bummed. I'm like,
we gonna be bum ass niggas.
Yo, you ever seen that video of the little kid? Reese knows what I'm talking about. They like in Pee Wee football. He's like, it's not y'all fault. Y'all played y'all heart out. It was the coaches. It was the leadership. You have to, if you're a kid that crashes out like that, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
If you're the kid that has that passion, when you're a kid and people are looking at you crazy because you're screaming your lungs out on stage at a you know what I'm saying, 21 plus show, and you 18 rapping, or you the kid that's in the living room that's yelling about, we got to get this pod together, we got to get the equipment, we got to get the blah blah blah. Like, if you're that kid, you're going to be fine because you care. You care enough to move the couch. You care enough to attack your goals as if they're invisible to everybody but you. Yeah. You know that they're there. So if you know that they're there, you're going to be straight. And I think that's the love that I do search for sometimes, is like, I do want that recognition of what I made, but it's like, whatever happens is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm floating through space time. I'm like, I'm another nigga, but every once in a while I make an impression or an impact through the things that I think of out of my brain and put on a microphone or on paper, and that's real. You know what I'm saying? Those big things matter.
That's why I respect it so much. I'm like, bro, if there's one thing about the album, there's been a lot of good albums this year. Yeah. But if there's one thing about this album, bro, that it resonated so much with all of us, is like, bro, it's real. And the only thing we've been feeling for the last 8-9 months has been real. Like
in that same like lock in, wanting to continue like pushing after this, I got like a couple more things I want to ask you about. One from an education perspective, because a big part of the album and listening to songs and shit is the underlying message that I feel like the thing about a mainstream song, that I feel like the song it's not inherently worse, right? But like, there's a common thread, I feel like, between like, all right, low effort when it comes to like the message that you're pulling out of it, and like likelihood of it being successful. So when you have something that's dense and still educational and that sounds good, I feel like that's my bag, at least. That's what I really love when it comes to music. And I think there are two songs that kind of embodied that for me. The first one was Letters, which that song, you could talk for hours. We could talk for time that we don't have about that song. That entire episode could just be that song.
The fashion question?
Yeah, we should have time for the fashion.
I got time. I don't know what time y'all got to get out of here.
Oh yeah,
we good.
All right, cool.
What time is it right now?
But before you even get into the letters, there's a song.
156.
Before you get into the letters, there's a song that I listened to on the way here from you. You made it in 2022 called "You Know."
Yeah.
Does that have any like correlation with letters? Because
he told me the chorus sound like similar.
Yeah, the chorus sounds similar because it's
it's like 100%. It's like the call and response type thing.
There's I'm probably at my like motif counter like 4 now. I've said motif too many times, but that's what this album is a bunch of motifs like that. That's how I wanted it to be cohesive, as certain ideas and words and things being used multiple times. One of the key motifs is travel or movement. So like, it's supposed to feel like we're headed somewhere. We're part of this movement, and whether it's like through using different vehicles, the boat, the plane, the spaceship, all that shit, or run the light. Like there's different things that are like the whole time.
About it,
we're like the first song we're setting sail, the second song we're on the ride, and then from there on, it's like we're continued to push this movement forward. And when I made Y'all Know, the idea was like I'm driving and y'all just be cool. Like, be cool how you be cool in the backseat. Like, I'm taking us somewhere.
When we get there.
When you a kid, and you keep asking how much longer.
It's
like,
you'll know when we get there.
And then it gets brought back full circle with letters because you're gonna see we on our way. So it's like, so it's like, so it's kind of like you're watching as the narrative is getting like pushed in a certain direction. And one of the things I want to talk to you about, we kind of started talking about like Trump a little bit earlier, but like the perspective, and I remember when you go into the song talking about like the separation of church and state. I remember you mentioning that in particular, and I was like, oh shit, we're talking about government politics. This
nigga started losing it.
I was like, yeah. So and the reason why I bring that up is because like we're in obviously a fraught political time. We see like the rise of like the Christian right, Christian nationalism, and we see like kind of how people, like I remember I seen the other day, Brody now. No one's gonna get fired if I talk about Charlie, right? We should be straight. But Charlie now passed, right? And I seen yesterday when they had the service, I'm seeing people, like whole stadium of people, they like they take the power completely out of the hand of like elected officials. They're like, God ordained us with these people and they're gonna lead us like to the right way, which mind you, it's supposed to be like, you in a country where it's supposed to be democracy, right? So it's supposed to be like, we put the people there and they're gonna lead us. It's kind of like shifted to that. You see the weaponization of that and like in Christianity and religion generally at a boiling point right now when it comes to like oppressing people, when it comes to like not accepting different groups. And I kind of want to get where your thought process was when making that song. Like, where are your thoughts, like the things that we're seeing in society with that increase? Is that something that you've paid attention to?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we're trying, or not we, but they're trying to push towards a ethno state and towards like a white Christian nationalist state.
They just compared Charlie Kirk to Christ.
Yeah.
They compared that nigga to Martin Luther King.
Yeah. That's OD.
That should tell you why.
That's OD.
It feels like if you pay attention and you study like the historical like nature, even someone like MLK who was religious and used a lot of like religious allegory to push for what he wanted to change. If you look at like where we are, if you analyze just from an objective perspective where he was coming from and where we are now and how like the viewpoints we're supposed to be told that they're on the same side according to these people, like it feels like a complete bastardization of like anything, of any civil rights movement, of any like narratives that we tell ourselves about history, because you have to fundamentally, I feel like, not understand that when you're getting into the realm of, okay, Charlie Kirknelm is, and the people who we constantly see demonizing, you know, gay people, brown people, all type of shit, are actually the true embodiments of, like, I mean, I guess to you, right? But like, I think that the reason why I really fucked with the mentioning of the separation of church and state is I feel like people don't understand as a concept that like, in order to have a society where everyone can believe freely and do what they want freely, you have to have something that tolerates you practicing that in your privacy, right? You can't like establish one thing that everybody got to believe, because then you run into problems. What if they don't, right? And that's what the separation of church and state tries to embody, where it's like, all right, you should be able to practice what you want to do and use whatever allegory you want to do. You shouldn't force other people to do that.
Yeah, I think one of the themes across the project is on each one of those verses I talk about a black woman that died. Like, so in the first verse I talk about my aunt. In the third verse, obviously I bring up the 4 little girls.
And given
in the second verse, when I say I rebuke you in the name of the child of God, I boil a pot of living water till it's scalding hot.
Pour it on the
I rebuke you in the name of Jesus is the last words that Sonia Massey said before the police killed her.
And you know that happened in my college town, because I was going to school down in Springfield, like right when it happened too. I didn't even make that connection.
Wow.
So the album has a lot of words from different people that like I wanted to make sure I documented and kept in there. And specifically with Sonia Massey, there was no real visceral reaction from the church on either side, from the white megachurch, from the evangelicals, and I don't really believe so from the black church, like not in an organized way that I would like to see the body move.
Given what happened.
So it's like, to me, in that verse specifically, I'm calling of the churches in power monetarily, because the mega church isn't just white churches. There's black mega churches as well.
Lock the door.
Having
Lock them doors.
Hey, that's my man.
Just had it.
Shout out Marvin. I'm crying.
Every Sunday, Marvin was in that house.
Yeah, every Sunday.
Never would have made it, nigga. Come on, man.
Busting out the subwoofers and shit. Hell yeah.
But there's a need to have empathy and embody the fruits of the spirit from the evangelical church or the mega church. And there's Jesus was for justice. So I think in that verse specifically, I am trying to call attention to the fact that these government funded churches with mega millions of dollars and resources like shelter and the ability to organize mass groups of people are not doing the work of God by hoarding and remaining silent. And so that's the separation of church and state I want to see. Is I want to see the church hold the state accountable. And I think like that, each one of those verses, again, for your consideration, anybody from the Grammys watching, but like that song has all of these different elements that it's examining, because the album as a whole originally is supposed to examine all of these different parts of Black life. So you have faith, you have love, you have doubt, you have rage, you have all these different points that get hit. But within that verse, there's so many different ways to address the body, me being the body of Christ, like us as a whole, as a world. And so I have to start with my my personal community church and where I see us at, and then go out to further things. And I think the verse to the black church, either that one or the fourth verse might be the best verses on the album. Because of all of the content within it. It's also I think the black church verse is my most subversive. Like, it's the most challenging the system. Like, I don't know no other rap albums where you say we should have lynched.
Dylan Roof.
Dylan Roof. You
but
better
it feels good
find
to say
you
that, because
before
words
I
is
do.
powerful. And that's like all I got. You know what I'm saying? I haven't committed my body to the movement yet. But in this time, I'm using my heavenly gift to say the things that need to be said. And I feel like that verse, it even there's so many things, so many pieces of information. Once I start thinking about that song, I start thinking, but another one of my favorite parts of that joint is the Jesus was a teacher. King was a preacher. Malcolm was a PK. And so was Aretha. There's like a 150-page file from J. Edgar Hoover's FBI that was surveilling and trying to COINTELPRO Aretha Franklin. Because her voice was so powerful. She's the daughter of a pastor. You know what I'm saying? She's somebody that can galvanize people. And so we have to start thinking about our voices, whether we're in journalism and media and and music and art, whatever it is, as like the voice that we have that can be powerful enough that a system would try and subvert it.
And I was gonna say, I think the thing that really spelled that out for me was kind of like the perspective you come from during that song, because I'm not a religious person, but like I can agree by and large with the themes of the song, because I think that it's, like you said, it's kind of like using that weight in your voice and kind of like trying to push, because you're only gonna ever be able to advocate for something from your own perspective. So like I feel like that messaging, that being unafraid to challenge like certain things or whatever, and certain like institutions within our community, I think that's the only way in which we come up with better solutions. Because like we're talking about, we have like churches and other organizations that have the resources and the ability to be like playing really good defense right now, given the attacks that we all seem to be under. But like there needs to be that fire lit there, and I really appreciate like taking that opportunity to do that.
I think the way you've tied together the church and state is very needed, because I feel like that's a way, especially growing up in a black church Christian household, that's a way that politics doesn't get brought up at all in a Christian household because it's like, okay, well, first natural then spiritual, but they don't believe that shit. My parents wasn't believing that shit. It's more so like, okay, if wars start happening and shit start hitting the fan, pray about it. You know what I'm saying? The rapture coming, etc. When it's like, yeah, but I'm living here right now. You know what I'm saying? Like moms and dads and granny and all that shit love them. You know what I'm saying? Shout out y'all. But they've been telling me the rapture was coming since I was 6 years old.
It's supposed to come.
It's come on Tuesday, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to come on Tuesday.
It's supposed to come on.
Please.
Let's go.
For real, if it is coming, I take that joke back, God.
What's the lyric? You know what's funny though?
I'm like, you know what? Let me chill on that rapture joke. But I think we've been pacified. So what you gotta know is that what I was talking about earlier, the '60s when the Black power revolutionary thought started to become a part of like mainstream thought. That was like an incredibly important time for the church. And so the church being our stronghold, you got to think about how many political actions came out of the church. The Panthers organized and did free breakfast programs out of the church. You know what I'm saying? If you think about Malcolm X and the mosque, if you think about Martin Luther King and all the churches in the South that he was able to visit, if you think about Marcus Garvey, if you think about going all the way back to Nat Turner, like the slave rebellion came out of the church. That's where we're able to convene. And that's also where like a lot of our political power or amassing power comes from. So
even today, representatives, a lot of them got their start like in the church during like the Black Civil Rights movement.
But them niggas be sellouts. I'm sorry to say that. Them niggas be
that's
sellouts.
the thing.
What
That's
I'm saying
why
is
the
that
criticism
the
is
church
so
needs
important.
to take its time in finding young people of action and with organizing power and bring them into the folds and the bosom of the church in a way that they can be stronger, because the older people, we're still scared of MLK. Like as much as we try and clean up his image to be this pacifist, like niggas was scared of MLK. He was considered a troublemaker. So the churches were scared, but they weren't so scared that they wouldn't house him, that they wouldn't give him a place to organize and speak from.
And that's standing up.
We got to do that. Like fuck the government officials. Like that's a line in letters where I say, you know, when the shit is really on, your dogma is Silent Bob. That's like a nigga that was silent in the Jay and Silent Bob movies. But like, you have nothing to say. You just take them government checks and smile and nod.
Exactly.
Like,
you say whatever.
And that's why it's so important, because it always starts locally. Like whatever you can do there. And I feel like as a lot of like churches have really lost like that thing.
Churches, especially growing up, bro. I be telling these niggas, I'm like, growing up, bro, like my church is one of those churches where it's like we got churches in different places of the United States. We was doing fucking turkey giveaways. We was doing all that shit. And it's like, that's church. I feel like, especially Black church, it needs to redefine its ideals. What are we really here for? What are we really
What's the
doing
future that we
What's
need
the
to get
future
to?
that we
Because
at
least in my mind, even as somebody who's not religious, looking from that perspective, I think the only way in which Black people get to have like religious autonomy and continue that tradition like in our community is if we're not actively being attacked and like trying to be killed all the goddamn time.
That's facts. I mean, they bomb churches, so it's not like they don't understand the stronghold.
They get it.
But what I'm saying is that there's got to be I'm glad you said locally. There has to be a pastor or somebody that watches this interview that says, okay, on an organizing level, who do I know, whether it's in our community, in our immediate surrounding community, or through Facebook or whatever, that I know be organizing? Not an elected official that can come and give us more funding, but who's a person that needs help that I could bring into the folds of this church and have them and be able to impress upon them and have them impress upon us, because we need that in multiple spaces all at the same time so that then we can coagulate.
Because it feels like oftentimes like politics and politicians are like, you know, public pollsters. Wherever the wind goes on what people are feeling, and they'll try to contort themselves.
They know that they need the Black vote, so they'll go to the Black church. Every church that I've been to, at least once, we had somebody that was an alderman or running for mayor or running for Congress or running for something that'll come and, you know what I'm saying, say their prayers, and then when they go on if they get to the pulpit, they start code switching and talking like a Baptist preacher and shit.
So I remember when they put the Southern twang on there.
It's like, hey man, that's not how you talk.
And I'm like, hey, that's not.
Especially when it comes to the Black church. Like I remember growing up, Granny, I'm so sorry, I love you. But like,
that's a crazy.
I know. It's a crazy start, but like they spent 5 racks on a fucking printer or like a fax machine. And I'm like, yo, spending the money and resources on all these other things. And especially like, I don't want to criticize the Black church a lot because we already go through so much scrutiny, but it's the fact of like, you already understand the struggles we go through every single day. And when you have those resources and you can allocate it, like we're saying locally, you can help so many people.
That's why
But
the politicians come there,
aren't there.
because the community there already. So if the community can draft up like what the future looks like, whatever, then the politician can respond to that and be like, okay, I'm going to advocate on behalf of y'all, instead of just like doing the generic, let me preach, let me say something.
It's also outreach. Like you have to step outside of it. Like you can keep God centered and be about evangelism or fellowshipping without it always being like, okay, we're inviting everybody to Bible study. When I was a kid, they used to run the illest basketball tournament on Halstead in our parking lot. And like people that didn't go to our church originally joined our church, young folks, because they had certain things, the church picnic, certain things that would bring people
Bible
out.
school and shit
you know what I'm saying?
that.
Vacation Bible school was like,
every summer.
that's the biggest thing. So we
That
run
shit was fun as fuck.
we run a vacation Bible school. It used to be at two churches, at Lilydale Baptist and Progressive Baptist. Now it's at what's the church that it's at now? At Apostolic now, called Kids of the Kingdom. And that's how you bring parents into the churches. If they have a place where they could send their kids affordably, that's like out of danger, and like at a church, once you get there, everybody's nice. It's like, oh, I might start coming here on Sundays. And you get people to buy in, and then, but then it's like, okay, what are we doing in the community outside of just bringing them here on Sundays that's going to have further impact, bring more people into the church, and also positively affect the community around?
I grew up in a very like, it was church, but with shit like that, what it does is it makes you understand what the real values of religion are. Like, I'm not a super religious person either no more. Like, I'm not super into like the Bible and shit like that, but I still hold those ideals because I'm like, bro, I remember being in church with these people that they did really care about us, and they did really want the best for us, and they didn't just be like, oh, fuck gay people. You know what I mean? Like, those wasn't shit that we grew up around because it was actual community and shit. That's what we need more of.
And those people are part of the community. So once you
churches
see that,
also often like devolve into not political spaces, but like hierarchical spaces where there's like, you know, these are the saints and these are the ushers,
they do
and
that
like,
shit all
like this person needs of this and this person needs of that, and then like that's what a lot of the first verse is about, is like the gossip that like comes with being in a church. So my church is super small. Church that I've been going to, my great grandmother went to this church. So it's like there's certain families that feel like they deserve certain things, certain people that be beefing. Like you was just saying a second ago, it would be people that was gay that would get pushed out, or would be people that had a kid, you know, that felt like they was
or something, you know, like that. Yeah, like, shit happen all the time.
So and with through that, you don't even get like the criticism can't like pass through because of those hierarchies. Because you never want to violate that at all.
Exactly. Once you get into a space of like, this church is about how people dress and how like it's got to be about building people up in order to like to have any power.
I remember my grandma. Well, anytime she come back home from church, she got a church story. Bro. Everybody, they talk shit.
Ezekiel just
like damn, you got me with all his today. Exactly. And I was gonna say, I think that kind of wrapping up now when it comes to just words being important, the way people carrying themselves being important, and building each other up being like a big thing. I think kind of zooming out to a macro level again, one of the instances we've seen of Black unity that I feel like was really inspiring to me was the Met. We seen the Met Gala earlier with Black dandyism. And the reason why I bring that up, like in segue off of this conversation, is because like that community is something that needs to be there regardless of the institution behind it. Like I love the fact that like churches can be utilized, if used at their best, to bring that community, because it's already gonna be there. But like a lot of people get kind of like, we don't have as many like public settings to hang out, and people don't want to be cool with each other no more. So like it's very hard for us to be on the same page, especially when it comes to the broader battles that we have to fight. I think one of the kind of niche ways that happened was with that Met Gala, showing that unity, showing that Black dandyism. I know you wanted to ask me about that.
First off, transition of hell.
Transition.
I wanted to ask you because I saw you during the Met. Crazy shit. Me and my girl was watching, and we were like screaming. We were like, what the fuck? And before I wanted to get into like the really in-depth questions, I wanted to ask you, because I feel like this was the most exciting Met, because like it really represented us as people. And I wanted to ask you, how did that make you feel, and what did Black dandyism mean to you?
Yeah, I really like that they had a specific year that was for us and how we've been. I think the dandyism speaks to Black folks like resourcefulness, like so like across all mediums, not just in fashion, but when it comes to cuisine, when it comes to like the church, when it comes like we've been given scraps historically, and then we end up creating something else.
That's where the creativity gets bred.
Hip hop is built off of break beats and samples, so it's like it's bringing things together, what we have, to create something new. And you know, Dapper Dan has been like a supporter of mine since like 2016. Right after Coloring Book, we got cool, and he's done a bunch of stuff for Social Works in Chicago through Social Works. But I was just happy to be celebrated as us. And at the time, when they first announced it, it was like a bunch of my friends that were placed at heads of tables. Some of my friends that are designers, shout out to Who Decides War, where I was gonna be their first year. That's a very subversive brand. Shout out to them. Like,
we all fuck with them.
Yo, they're raw as hell. But I just wanted to be there because I hadn't been to the Met since 2019, I think was last time, or maybe 2018 was the last time I went. 2021 was the last time I went. And so I just wanted to be there because I knew that like some of the people that I wanted to talk to about, you know, the album and the future projects, like I wanted to link with them. But it ended up being just like a really beautiful night of like us, you know how, I don't know, like when niggas get something and they know it's theirs, like it's like an in your face vibe that like everybody just kind of had.
It felt that way.
Like
It was like it made me so mad. I was like, damn, I wish we was lit.
Yeah.
I was like, I saw how like Rocky and Tiana Taylor and all of them were just having a ball. I'm like, bro, this shit is dope,
like
bro.
the moment Tiana Taylor like literally opened it, I'm like, this is like the energy that we're coming with.
Let me tell y'all a funny story that was hilarious in there. So every time that they do one, they have a special guest performer, and you don't know who it is until you get there. So there was already the surprise. Once we got there, we find out that, or maybe right before he went on stage, that the guest performer was Usher. Who is Usher? You know what I mean? It's Usher. So like
Usher.
he smashed that shit. Like he went fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like a small stage. It's not like hella lights and everything going
cherries
crazy.
and shit.
But he had the he had dancers. Because I've been there before. Justin Bieber did it like 4 or 5 years ago, and he crushed it. But it was just him and like maybe I think he might have had a guitar. But Usher came in with like dancers. They had like wardrobe change. They had like little props and shit they brought on stage. So that was crazy. But the funny thing that happened was he goes, damn, I'm trying to remember how he said it. He said, basically he brought Stevie Wonder as a surprise guest. So Stevie comes out and does like 4 or 5 songs. But the thing that had me crying laughing was he introduced Stevie as saying like, he was like, you know, I've been influenced by a lot of greats and like a lot of people's music is still running through me. And there's nothing like, you know, some of the greats that, the words that he used specifically was he said some of the, I want to be blessed by a voice from above. And then pulled out Stevie Wonder, and I was like, Stevie Wonder is not dead. What the fuck are you talking about? So I've been meaning to text Usher to ask him what the fuck is he talking about.
A voice from above.
From above.
Is alive and well. Don't
Niggas start floating and shit.
Bro, they be doing my nigga Stevie. They be saying that nigga fake blind. They be
doing
all
him
this
crazy.
Yo, no, every time I see him, he be like, Chance.
How you know?
Like, what?
Wait.
Wait a minute, gang.
How you know it was me, gang?
I don't think we'll ever find out a full answer to these because I've been asking you.
It's low key racism. I'm actually gonna take a step back off. That. If there was a blind person that was as good as Stevie Wonder that was white, we would not be making all these jokes.
I think that's a very good. That is a very valid
on that. Like, I think also sometimes jokes, they be internal jokes. Like, I think black people probably been joking about Stevie Wonder being blind forever, but then once that became like, you know, as Eddie Murphy,
like
famous, then it's like everybody just takes that and runs with it. I'm sure he's blind.
I wanted to ask a question also with because you represented Versace.
Yeah.
How was it? Because you walking out with Donatella Versace, it was so crazy because we were talking about just the hate you received so much.
Yeah.
It was kind of seeing two underdogs really present themselves because of the shit she went through, kind of getting pushed out of Versace, and the shit you went through with everyone saying like, you know, the fall off and all that. Yeah. How was that working with Donatella?
I think like well, firstly, like she is one of the youngest designers at one of the youngest fashion houses that's considered a major player in fashion. So she had a certain stigma to the way that she was so forward with her designs that, you know what I'm saying, that the house itself was all like had all this stigma to it with her brother being killed. She had like a lot of things to overcome and become who she is. And who she is like when I came, because I was really like her date, you know what I'm saying? Like I was like, and not her date like that, but like I was there to like basically like protect Shorty. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like she's older, where like there's like hella shit that goes on in the Met. Like you going up all these stairs, like you doing like a lot of stuff. So I'm there like really like as her arm candy almost, you know what I'm saying? Like she's, in terms of that fashion world, she's up there, but she also took a lot of risk. Like she dressed Pac for one of like the biggest Milan fashion shows that they had. So I actually had one of Pac's vest on underneath my jacket that she gave me personally.
That's hard. That's hard.
So, but she has this understanding of pop, of black culture, of being like subversive or counterculture that like a lot of people didn't appreciate when she first started. Now, obviously, she's Donatella Versace. So every single person in that whole room was coming up to our table constantly to thank her, to ask her to dress them, to do whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, and obviously she's hella busy, but I think like for me, I just felt great to be able to be personally asked by somebody of that stature to be like, you're who I want to dress, you're who I want to take me to the Met. She doesn't really even like going to the Met, so it was a big deal that she was there that year. Like, I think it's like, crazy. I think for me, it was like, it was a beautiful like opportunity to be both in my own space, because again, it was the black year, you feel me? Like we was in that joint wilding, but also it was like a moment to be recognized by somebody who is, you know, you know what I'm saying? A giant, but also in a lot of ways like me, did it very differently. And like chose her own path. They're probably like the last independent fashion house. They just sold like maybe a month or two after the Met, but like they're like the old, like we make things by hand. It's only a few people at the fashion house. Like we're like consistently making designs that go against what everybody else is doing. So like, I love that. Now, what was hard was like people thought she was like my date. Like, why he with this old ass lady? Like, all this stuff. And I'm like, you don't know how much of an honor.
That's cool as fuck.
That's super dope. What was your reaction to like the conversation of like she was like, yeah, I want to represent you?
It was just I think like I felt blessed, but I also felt like it was as written, you know what I'm saying? Like, for it to be this year, for it to be like I'm about to drop my album, for me to be able to step out on it, because that is like a major stage, you know what I'm saying? Like to be just that red carpet moment alone is like a time where so many people are going to be looking at me. And I felt like that was a great, every once in a while I get like a great divine random thing that happens to me that platforms me at a time when I need that platform, because I'm independent, because there's not a whole bunch of people that are invested in money-wise in my career being successful, or me being, you know, at the forefront of conversation. Some of those things just feel like divine blessings that come at the right time. So I felt like that was a great like happening. It was great that she chose me. It was great that like to work with them even. Like it's like, because it is a whole process. Like you got to go out there early and do a bunch of fittings and like, you know, look at sketches and everything. And so I really wanted to honor, you know, the late great James Earl Jones's character in Coming to America. Like he had this very regal like tan jacket with like the bespoke pieces of like, you know.
That makes so much sense as I'm thinking about the fit now.
That
makes
he
so
had
much
these
sense.
crazy what is it called? A brooch. He had these crazy brooches, and so I ain't gonna lie, the brooches, can I say that? The brooches I had on was like $1 million a piece, like $1 million.
Damn.
He's not mine, you know what I'm saying? You gotta give him back.
But that's still, a lot of
That's
the
still
Met,
nuts.
like a lot of the highlights were the accessories, like the hats, the brooches, because that's what represented Black Dandy is.
And I think that it's super cool to have seen that and to see you honoring Donatella. But also, I think we are also honored having you chose the Jaam. You're about to get on tour. The And We Back tour. Wrapping up, because we don't got time, what are you really hoping with the tour that you can experience or accomplish with this, and what's next?
What's
for
next?
I think it's to see people, you know what I mean? Like to be like I'm a touring artist, even though I haven't been on tour in like 5 years. I did the little ass rap tour, but like to do like a tour for a new album, it's been a long time. And for me, like that is my actual lane. Like I am the best writer, but when it comes to performing live and putting on a show, like there is not really anybody even close to me with more or less production than me. Doesn't really matter. So
I love
that. The production stood out to me for a reason.
Yeah.
But I think there's a and I mean sorry, specifically like production value. So like I'm good at building a stage out. I'm good at telling a story. I've been touring since I was 18, so I know more than the average bear on lighting, props, who's gonna be my front of house or my monitors guy, like a carpenter. Like I know like good people in all of these different spaces to put on a show. But again, because I'm independent, like that should be expensive. So sometimes I have to choose with whatever budget how to make the greatest show, and it still ends up being the greatest show. So I love that the fact that I'm gonna get to be myself every night for a series of nights for an hour and a half in all these different cities.
It's fire.
And then on the other side, I love that I'm gonna get to see people, because the type of, when people get into my music and they like love my music and they get to see a show, they become like repeat offenders. Like they at the next show, not on the next tour, but like
on the next we gonna travel and go.
Like we came from, you was just in Omaha, we came to whatever, Kentucky, like we went to whatever to see you because the show last night was so crazy. And I think I've built up a lot of fans that are like repeat like concert goers that haven't seen me perform for 5 years, and I know how my brain works. Even if I don't know their name, I'm gonna be able to see some of them from the stage or at a meet and greet or whatever. Like touching the people is like a big part of like why I do it. So I'm excited to see people. And then what's next? I got this trial that I gotta go on with against the ex-manager dude.
Oh my God, bro.
You know what I'm saying? That's
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? But I think it is gonna be another important step in like the landscape and how independent artists are allowed to move freely through the space. And so once I do that, you know what I'm saying, I'll probably go to Ghana, you know what I'm saying?
Chill out with the Jaam.
We gotta go to Ghana.
And we gotta go to your show.
Yeah,
you're gonna be out here October, right?
Yeah, my show here is October 10th at Northerly Island. So right on the water. Get to see the Star Line, get to see the boat.
Oh yeah, we pulling up. You got to see the boat. That's gonna be so
It's gonna
fun.
be so fun.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Chance the Rapper. You gotta reach it. Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all. Go get your tickets. Go see the shows. We gonna leave links and everything.
Stream the album.
Stream the fucking album.
Yes, sir. Stream the
album. If you
album.
love it, tell somebody. And also don't forget to like. Share, comment. One more comment. Just say I commented again because you told me to.
We done said that so many times. If you don't comment at least 3 times for a chance, you're bullshit.
And
you're bullshit. But hold on, before we go, is there a deluxe on the way?
Oh shit.
What I will say is that for one, I'm gonna be doing more of what's called the writings on the walls, which is sensory experience that I created around the album. So
we need to
I've heard so much crazy stuff.
It's a one-on-one. It's a one-on-one for sure.
I need to.
I gotta be fried.
But it helped me get to, one, like I said earlier, touch the people. I got to be in small rooms of like 50 to 100 people that really like my music, get to give them the experience of the music before it came out, and a lot of songs that didn't come out yet. And I think in the furtherance of it, it's going to be only better on the visual and audio side. I know it's going to be better on the visual and audio side. And also a lot of the songs, there's a song with me and Lauryn Hill called All My People that this iteration of the album, people just, I don't think we're ready for. But I think that's just going to have to come out now.
Yes, sir.
And I remember
looking forward to
like
it.
in the first song you mentioned Lauryn Hill as well.
Yeah. So she's like a huge, like mentor and inspiration to me. Even before I met her, she was a huge, huge inspiration to me. But I think like with the intro, she is a big reason why people got this album. Like, I spent a long time doing other stuff, working on other things, some of them in preparation for the album. But Lauryn Hill sent me a text one night, late as fuck, that was like, you know, I seen that you just announced you're doing a second season of The Voice, and like, this is basically, she basically said, this is not your purpose. Like, you got to understand contextually also, Lauryn Hill, Miss Hill, got on before the Fugees. As an actress. And was popular in those spaces. And I think a lot of those opportunities continue to present themselves to her because she is so multi-talented. And when you're a person that loves talking and loves acting and loves all the other things that come with it, those things can become a distraction from your purpose. And so she basically said, like, we need your style out here. We need your viewpoint out here. And to hear that from somebody like her, like, anybody that's under the sound of my voice, go back and listen to the Miseducation, like front to back. Front to back, and you'll remember that it's the greatest album to ever be made. And
like, I ain't even gonna lie, because I'm like, and she's right too, because the perspective is 100% needed, especially with, like, I'm seeing what people try to, like, what people, not to hate on people, but like what they put in the art nowadays, and oftentimes where it goes. It's very important keeping that, like, creativity alive.
And everybody has their own voice. So the music that came out in the last 6 years since I put out The Big Day, it's been some good projects. But they ain't me. You know what I mean?
And so that's real. I feel like
you know what I'm saying?
Real.
To know when it's not, like,
I'm listening to it.
You feel me? Like, that motherfucker hard. It's different. And I'm glad that I dropped in this year where there are so many good projects. So many really good hip hop projects.
It's been a crazy year.
But if it wasn't no competition, you wouldn't even know how great this album is.
Like,
you have to now look at everything around it from all of my contemporaries and peers, and not even just in hip hop, like albums, period. You have to look at all the stuff and then go back to Starline and be like, this nigga did that.
He did that.
Yes, sir.
On Jesus.
Thank you guys for tuning in with us this week, as always. Thank you guys for stopping by again. You can find us on our individuals, J. William J.
You know what I mean? What you on, Matt?
AB the artist.
Soulstudios.com.
At Chance the Rapper.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys again. Have an awesome day and night wherever you may be. And see ya.
Peace out, y'all.
It's the Jam.
It's the motherfucking Jam.
Fire. Thank you for watching this long. If you haven't already, subscribe. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? You think we just sitting here doing it for nothing?
You think you're gonna sit here and not do
Need
shit?
to
Like,
I know you're not subscribed. Click it.
cool.